San Diego, it's time to fire it up. From the beaches to the ballparks, from the Gaslamp to North County, no one knows America's finest city like he does.
You can't just punt on a Manny Machado prime year.
He's a fourth-generation San Diegan, born and raised in the heart of this community. Passionate, opinionated, and always bringing you the real talk on your teams, your city, and everything in between.
Braden totally knows his stuff. He's ready for the next step. That guy is good.
Live and local, it's the Braden Surprenant Show.
But I think Braden's one of the up-and-coming young stars in the media game in San Diego.
Now, here's your host, Braden Surprenant.
What's up, San Diego? And a happy Wednesday to everybody out there in America's finest city. He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant. It's the Braden Surprenant Show, live and local each and every day from 10 to 2 on San Diego's number one sports station, 97.3 The Fan. We got a lot to talk about today here on the show. We're going to dive into some Padres baseball a little bit later on in the show. I'm going to be honest with you. For a Wednesday during the dog days of spring training, there's a lot going on in sports from last night. You kidding me? Of course, the big story is the fact that Frank Marchese's Hofstra is going to the NCAA tournament, of course. Which I have to ask, how many Hofstra games did you watch this year?
Not many, because I'm not paying $20 a month for Flow Sports.
You don't pay for Flow Sports?
No.
Don't they have Flow Racing?
I don't pay for that either.
Okay.
You have to pay for Flow Racing. You have to pay for Flow Basketball. You have to pay for each individual one. It's not like, hey, here's Flow Sports.
Here's Flow Sports. Here's one package for $1,000.
Yeah.
No, it's $1,000 for each package.
Yes. Pretty much, yes.
The amount of money people spend on Flow Sports to me is crazy. To watch like the Mary Nutter Classic up in
that being said,
the Inland Empire.
Flow Racing, if you ever need a broadcaster,
you just killed it right
let
there,
me know.
dude. Do I need to bring up the Chris Ello Olive Garden thing again, where he just crushes Olive Garden and goes, well, I guess they're never going to be a sponsor, Gwen and Chris. Looks like you're never going to be a broadcaster for Flow Sports, Frank. You played yourself. All right, so we had Hofstra Lynch last night. I did send one of my friends was like, he's a Hofstra fan? Did anybody know this? Is he just jumping on some random school? And I said, well, in Frank's defense, day one of college basketball, he did show up with the Hofstra shirt.
yeah,
so I can't.
That is the closest university to where I grew up, and had I stayed, I would have gone there. So, yes, this is not a bandwagon deal. And trust me, if I were to have picked a bandwagon team, I would not have picked somebody in the Colonial Athletic Conference.
Is it the Colonial or is it the Coastal? Because WarrenNolan.com lists it as the Coastal something conference. Does the Colonial even exist anymore? I'm going to tell you right now, you get a foul if the team that you root for, you don't even know what conference they're in. You're going to get a foul for that.
It was the Colonial Athletic Conference last I checked.
Conference tournaments. We're going to go in alphabetical order here. They got the ACC, America East, the American.
Well, I guess they did change their name.
A-Sun, Atlantic 10, Big 12, Big East, Big Sky, Big South, Big 10,
what
Big
did I just
West,
say, man?
Coastal Athletic.
Yeah, I was just they
got rid of the Colonial.
Yeah, they changed it. It's still the same.
What? It doesn't make any sense to have a Colonial conference and have a team called the Campbell Camels in it. So it is the Coastal. All right, so that was something that happened yesterday. The other thing that happened yesterday, as Augie lays out, Ben Afquack still topping the Pacific Division after a big win yesterday against the Winnipeg Jets. That also happened. Was there anything else that went on last night? Are we missing?
I went 4-0 yesterday.
Well, you personally didn't do anything. The teams that you rooted for went 4-0.
Hofstra won. The Mets won, which, I mean, I'd rather win something that doesn't matter than lose something that doesn't matter.
Well, the Mets won, and they also lost in the WBC at the same time.
The Islanders came back from 3-0 down in St. Louis to win in overtime. And then the nightcap happened.
I'm waiting for the Italian music. I'm waiting for that. I thought you were going to play
I got to get it ready then.
Italian music.
I was not.
Forza. I found myself like Ben Higgins last night, where I was rooting for Italy and then quickly going, All right, Team USA, time to stop messing around. You're down 8-0 now. It's like the 6th inning. Maybe you should get it into gear. You do know you didn't qualify for the next round, right? Right? We understood that going into the WBC game last night, that you weren't obviously into the next round yet.
Of course, only a goober would not remember.
We understood that. We understood the assignment.
Yeah, knew that they weren't clinched in, and then all of a sudden, here comes.
You could have picked like Frank Sinatra. Or
I could have, but
the Italian national anthem.
Yeah,
that is what you're
not?
playing. Go ahead, sing it for us.
I'm good.
Have you ever heard this in your life? This is not what they played after they won last night, by the way.
Every Sunday. Well, almost every Sunday during Formula One season.
Oh, that's when you hear this. All right, Forza. Okay, I'm done with that. Let's go back to Mark DeRosa. You know what, DeRosa is an inside job because he's Italian too. Travis Gundy pointing out exactly what I tweeted last night. Team USA lost to a starting pitcher, by the way, that has a 15 ERA in spring training for the Colorado Rockies, and Michael Lorenzen, and a guy that wears Vans. They lost to a guy pitching at Vans, which is sick. But also, they lost to a guy pitching at Vans. Now, Mark DeRosa, I got to ask the question, man. I really got. We're going to dive deeper into this in the next segment. But I got to, do you have that clip ready to go?
I does, yes.
Okay, so here's the thing with the Mark DeRosa deal. I like Mark DeRosa. I enjoy his commentary on the morning show on MLB Network. I think it's great. I really do. I think it's great. I think he does a really good job. Now, him completely messing up this entire situation and having to rely on the fact that Team Mexico needs to score 5 runs today, or the fact that Italy just needs to win outright, and the fact that you don't control your own destiny getting out of pool play when you are the best team, theoretically. You should be one of the best teams in this thing. You invented the sport. Mark DeRosa going into yesterday. Everybody knows, because there was not one time where we're sitting there going like, oh, Team USA is advanced. They have to win. They're cool. They can rest guys. Everybody knows, except for maybe Mark DeRosa. Here's Mark DeRosa yesterday on MLB Network.
Ton of respect for Italy. It's weird. We want to win. We want to win this game, even though our tickets punched to the quarterfinals, because Mexico plays Italy actually tomorrow. So the way the schedule lines up, this is an important game for us. Nolan McLean will start. He's on the bump and he's good to go. He's an absolute beast, and I expect him to throw the heck out of him.
It's weird. It's kind of weird for us. Like, we still want to win this game, but with our ticket punched, and no disrespect to Italy, it's like, I got to get guys off their feet. I don't know. Is that what he said? That seems like what he said.
More or less, yeah.
Seems like that's what he said. Okay,
Mark DeRosa,
Mark,
rule knower.
How do we not know what's going on? Let's listen to his. Do you have his post game?
I do.
Now, after they lost because they fell down 8-0 and had to rally back, they got the tying run to the plate magically. I knew it was bad.
Did.
I knew it was bad. This is when I knew things were bad. I knew it was bad when John Boy tweeted out, "Someone get me to this press conference. Somebody direct me to this press conference. I have to hear what Mark DeRosa has to say." What did D-Rose say in the press conference?
Is that true?
Yeah, I misspoke. I was on hot stove with a couple buddies today and completely misread the calculations. We knew that Mexico was going to play Italy and then running all the numbers with, if we lost tonight, with the runs allowed and runs scored and outs. So I just misspoke.
You misspoke, or Team USA had no idea what they were doing? Because misspeaking and saying that on television and knowing after the fact, oh, we have not punched our ticket. Here's Bryce Harper and all the studs of Team USA in the lineup. I would believe the misspeak.
To be fair. Okay, I guess we're not doing that whole
We're not doing the letter Kenny thing? No.
That's okay. He did at least own up to an mistake. Whether or not it was the right one, he at least owned up that he had made an mistake.
But then he made another mistake by owning up to for the first mistake, because what he said happened. That he misspoke. What he said happened, and the actions of the team are two totally different things. It's one thing to go, here's our best lineup with Bryce Harper and Bobby Witt Jr. and all these guys, and we tried to play, and you know what? Italy just beat us up. You know, it's one thing to do that. But when you watch the way that game went out, and you had Paul Goldschmidt in the lineup and Ernie Clement, and you didn't have Bryce Harper, and you didn't have your best foot forward in the lineup, then you find yourself down 8-0. And by the way, late in the game, you see old man Kershaw warming up at the bullpen, and the 8th inning, that's when everybody got the light bulb like, hey, Mark, actually, we're not into the next round yet. Oh, shoot. Somebody get Mason Miller warmed up. We got to make sure this is locked down here.
And did we not see also that something that he had said pregame during the pregame presser? This was posted by Jose.
I did not see this.
Jose de Jesus Ortiz. Say there are some guys dragging today. Team USA manager Mark DeRosa said after his coaching staff and players stayed up telling stories and celebrating after their Mexico victory, they did not leave the ballpark until 12:30 in the a.m.
That tells me, you know what? It sounds like they knew what they thought they clinched.
They thought they had it.
They thought they clinched. They didn't know the rules. And I can't blame the WBC for that. And I can't blame, you can only blame Team USA. How do you not know if you're clinching or not? I don't understand. I mean, Mark DeRosa is getting killed right now on social media, and as he should. I mean, this is a massive blunder for what is supposed to be one of the best teams Team USA has put together. And the fact that they now have to rely on Mexico and Italy to have a couple of things go their way to advance to the next round, this is catastrophically bad for the country that invented this sport. Catastrophically bad. It's one thing to say, I misspoke on MLB Network, and we had the best lineup in there, and Italy just flat out beat us. It's another thing to say, we think we clinched. You partied the night before because you thought you clinched, and then you roll out a bunch of guys that aren't the studs of the team to get guys in because it's like, oh, we've already clinched. Let's just get guys some reps. And then to just get your ass kicked, and then it's like, oh, panic mode. We got to try to figure out how to win this right now because we didn't actually advance yet. Unbelievable. That is managerial malpractice, is what that is. Now, that being said, here's the other thing that's interesting. Like Mark DeRosa, nobody's talking about this. Aside from the fact that MLB Network deleted that video. By the way, they deleted it. That is so bad on so many different levels. Like, come on, MLB Network. Are you kidding me? The guy said it, you posted it, and now you're going to go back and delete it. It's 2026. People can find that stuff now. Once it's on the internet, it's on the internet.
If you know he's wrong, too, why even post it? Why even draw attention to it?
What? By the way, nobody at MLB Network knew that he was wrong. Like, while they were recording it, nobody said, like, hey, let's clarify this. They're not actually like, not a single person said to Mark on TV, that's wrong. We haven't advanced yet. Not one person at MLB Network. And then they went out to say what you're saying, Frank. Then they posted it. Nobody at MLB Network knew that the United States had not advanced yet into the next round. Nobody knew. They just assumed, maybe. I mean, come on. Then you go back and delete it to make it worse. You should have just left it up there. I understand the guy works for you and you want to try to protect him a little bit, but at the same time, there's only so much you can do. But this leads into the other factor of Mark DeRosa now. How much credibility does Mark DeRosa lose going back on MLB Network? When he has to, do his actual job? When you watch, I think that's the best. It's one of the best morning sports shows on television right now is the one on MLB Network. I don't. Maybe it's because we got the Padres here and we're more locked into MLB Network than the other ones. But like all the other shows, I think are so gimmicky and dumb. And the MLB Network show it has their gimmicks, but I think it's one of the most intelligent shows on that lineup. And Mark DeRosa does a great job. But now all of a sudden it's like, are we going to listen to this guy after he didn't even know where the standings were? He didn't even know if his team was like clinching or not. He had no idea. This is the guy that we picked to be the manager of Team USA. I mean, if you look at like all of the other head coaches and managers of these teams, like look at Team USA for the NBA. They got multi-NBA champions coaching that team. Or it was Coach K who won multiple national championships. It's a coaching staff that all coaches all the time. In hockey, I don't know who the guy's name was because I'm not into hockey as Frank is. Who's the coach for Team USA? Isn't he a multi-Stanley Cup winner?
Oh, I don't know.
He's won multiple Stanley Cups. And he's an actual coach. But for baseball, and like, I get it. Mark DeRosa has been interviewed multiple times to be a manager in Major League Baseball. Like, you pick Mark DeRosa?
Mike Sullivan.
He's won the Stanley Cup, though. Hasn't
Yes,
he? Yeah,
He's won 2.
He's won 2 Stanley Cups as a coach, correct? Right?
Yes.
Okay, not crazy. You pick with the guy from MLB Network? The former player, like it's like for what? Like for the press conferences? You know, some people got mad at me yesterday because I said, like, in the grand scheme of things, just to lighten the level of the Cal Raleigh, Randy Rosarena thing, that the WBC was not that important in the grand scheme of things. Like, a lot of players obviously love playing in it, and it means a lot to them. But the actions of Team USA, hey, if you want people to take it super seriously, you guys got to take it seriously. You have one of your best pitchers going like, I'm going to throw 40-something pitches against Great Britain, and then I'm going to leave because I'm worried about my contract. That's fair. It's right. Don't sign up for the team next time. You got Bryce Harper talking about like, well, it's not the Olympics. It's like he doesn't even take it that seriously. And your manager is a guy from television that doesn't even know what the rules are? I mean, what a blunder by Team USA. What an absolute blunder for USA Baseball last night. And that takes everything away from like how great the Americans wearing Italian jerseys were last night. Entire starting lineup was born in the United States, really. Michael Lorenzen's from Southern California. It's where he wears the Vans while he pitches. I like the way Italy played last night, man. They were not afraid. It was great. So now Team USA is in a jam because they got to sweat out this Italy-Mexico game. What are the results that Team USA needs? We'll tell you when we come back. We'll kind of recap and break down the actual game from last night between Team USA and Italy. WBC drama at full force as we kick off the show. Braden Surprenant Show, San Diego's number sports station, 97.3 The Fan. If you want the one storyline that defines college basketball right now heading into March Madness, it's the freshman. Best player in the country might be a freshman. That's Cameron Boozer at Duke. He's averaging over 22 points and 10 rebounds a game and could be the number 1 pick in the NBA draft, but it's not just him. AJ DeBansta at BYU is a superstar. Darius Acuff Jr. at Arkansas is one of the best point guards in the country. And Illinois freshman Keaton Wagler is playing like an All-American. 6 of the 15 players on the Wooden Award ballot are freshmen, which almost never happens. So when you're filling out your March Madness bracket this year, don't just look at the school name, look at the freshmen, because in 2026, the teenagers are running college basketball, and they might decide who cuts down the nets in April. We're officially entering the most chaotic time of the college basketball season. Selection Sunday is approaching. Brackets are about to flood your email inbox, and for a lot of fans, this is the moment where they start asking, wait, who's actually good this year? The reality is, in the 2026 season, it has given us a pretty clear storyline so far: a dominant top tier, an incredible freshman class, and a handful of surprise teams crashing the party.
Yeah, right now there's a clear elite class in college basketball. Leading that group are a blue blood, the Duke Blue Devils. the number one team in the country. They're led by freshman superstar Cameron Boozer, the favorite for National Player of the Year, and one of the best freshmen the sport has seen in years. Duke already owns huge wins over Florida and Michigan, two other projected number one seeds. Michigan has been dominant as well this year. Their only losses this season came to Duke and a hot shooting Wisconsin Badgers team. Then there's the Arizona Wildcats, one of the most balanced teams in the country, ranking top 8 nationally in both offense and defense. But don't sleep on the Florida Gators. The defending champs are red hot with a 10-game winning streak behind them and look like a legitimate repeat contender.
Well, let's go back to the freshmen. They're running college basketball right now. This might be the best freshman class we have seen maybe ever. And it starts with Buehler at Duke. There's a ton of elite young talent. We talked about it. AJ DeBansta at BYU, Darius Atkiff Jr. at Arkansas, Keaton Wagler at Illinois. 6 of the 15 players in the Wooden Award ballot this season are freshmen, which is basically unheard of. The sport right now is being driven by teenagers who could be NBA lottery picks in a few months. But the surprise teams that are showing up and crashing the party, there's always a couple. Every year, March Madness has surprise contenders, and this year there are plenty. Look at Nebraska, who opened the year 20-0 after being picked near the bottom of the Big Ten. Vanderbilt started 16-0 despite preseason predictions that they finished near the bottom of the SEC. And the wildest story might be the University of Miami of Ohio, Frank. Miami of Ohio.
Yes, the University of Miami of Ohio Redhawks, the only undefeated team in the country. But here's the crazy part. They still might miss the NCAA tournament if they do not win the MAC tournament because their strength of schedule was just so weak.
It's an interesting conversation, though, with if you go undefeated despite your schedule, you should be in the NCAA tournament.
Yes.
At the same time, they didn't play that good of a schedule, but now you got their athletic director sending out all of these tweets and stuff about how nobody wanted to play them. You have investigative journalists that are asking for public access requests to see some of the emails about schools turning them down. It's very interesting, and it's a weird thing in college athletics right now where, and not really right now, it's probably been the case, where top teams in college athletics refuse to play good mid-major programs because the risk reward doesn't make sense for them. And it affects teams like Miami, affects teams like San Diego State here in town. I mean, these are deciding factors for a lot of programs that build their schedule. It's very poor. And you look at the Power Four, and most of their schedules are trash.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's exactly we see the same thing in football. They don't play anyone out of conference. That's why you saw Alabama play the Citadel every year, especially late in season too. So, I mean, unfortunately, it's a part of college athletics, but every now and again, you have a breakout story here like the Redhawks that come out and really defy the odds and go undefeated, an incredible run. And for them to miss the NCAA tournament because of a weak schedule and they didn't win the MAC tournament, that's just really hampering the amazing accomplishment that they had this season.
Now, there are a lot of injuries that could change the March Madness bracket, and that's a big storyline heading into March. Are the studios, we know how. He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant. It's the Braden Surprenant Show, live and local each every day from 10 to 2 on San Diego's number one sports station, 97.3 The Fan. My parents are going out to Nashville this weekend, which is hosting the SEC tournament. Should they go to a game is the question. I said might as well. It's at Bridgestone Arena. You're going to be down in Broadway anyway. Wouldn't it be fun to go to the game? Now, I wouldn't really want to watch anybody besides like Tennessee, as the Tennessee fans that they are, with my brother going there. But other than that, why not? I'm sure my sister will love the fact that my parents go out to visit her and decide to go to a college basketball game instead. My mom was locked in. She's locked in for Arizona basketball. The gym this morning, when she went to the gym, she was wearing all U of A everything. She's ready for Selection Sunday. You know who's not ready for Selection Sunday? Arizona State. They're down 14. They're down so bad that, like, when they made the free throw right there, they didn't even light up the paint anymore on the court. That's where we're at right now in the Big 12 tournament. 45-14 in the first half.
Oops.
Sam Levitt better get a drive together here. Matt Campbell's team, no longer Matt Campbell's team. It's kicking their ass.
You also got J.R. Blunt, too?
Yeah, J.R. Blunt. Where's he at? He's over there doing. Oh, yeah, look. Got a guard. Look, he's in a defensive stance on the sideline. Love that. Yeah, Jocelyn, I wouldn't turn it on.
Yeah, don't bother at this point.
Don't bother. Yesterday, we should have, you know what? Just pretend yesterday beating Baylor was like the championship.
Hey, they're coming back now.
Oh, wow. You know what? 45-16 and a half.
Still winnable.
Got to watch out for the Cyhawk over there, or the Cyclone guy over there. Forget that guy's name. Oh, his name's just Cy. Largest halftime lead in Big 12 tournament history. Ooh. Ouch.
You know what that just means?
There's a chance.
That means an opportunity for the biggest comeback in Big 12 history.
That is true. Sam Levitt needs 5 second-half touchdown drives. Maybe they can put something together. All right, let's talk about this Team USA situation that they're in right now. I saw a couple of tweets last night that I was looking through, but here's what essentially you need to know. Okay? If Italy wins tonight, Forza. If Italy wins tonight, Team USA goes automatically. There's no questions about it. No tie-breaking scenarios. Nothing to worry about. If Mexico wins, well, in order for USA to advance, Mexico's got to score 5 runs or more. That's basically it. Okay? That's all you really need to know. So if Mexico wins 4-3, bad news for Team USA. You're going home. 4-2, 4-1, you're going home. 4-0, you're going home. They score 3 runs or less. If Team Mexico scores 4 runs or less and wins, you're going home. If Team Mexico scores 5 runs, automatically get to go, regardless if they win or not. Now, here's the question, or the other caveat to this. If you're Team USA and you're a Team USA fan, just hope that the game tonight between Italy and Mexico doesn't go to extra innings. Because if it goes to extra innings, it's chaos. I don't want to explain the extra innings thing because it's all about runs allowed divided by outs made during the tournament.
Wait.
It's not just runs allowed, Frank. Your brain's going to self-destruct. So since I forget who's the away, someone tonight is not going to make 27 outs. Only, someone might make 24 outs tonight. Like if the home team wins, and I don't know who the home team is.
Italy's the away team.
Italy. Let's double check.
Whatever it is on the sheet. Yeah, Italy's the away team tonight.
Right. So if Mexico wins by 5, if they score 5 runs or more and they win in regulation or whatever in 9 innings, then Italy would have only recorded 24 outs, and the runs given up divided by the innings that they have played would not match up to Team USA. So then Mexico and Team USA would advance. That's that. So if Mexico scores 5 runs tonight for any reason and the game ends in 9 innings, Team USA advances. You got that?
Yeah.
If Italy wins at any point, Team USA advances.
By the way, this game, sorry, Tubi, you're not important enough. This is on Fox Sports 1 now.
Yeah, they moved it.
Yes, they did.
So that is the situation at hand for Team USA. Now, you could theoretically see a situation in which this is the Chargers and Raiders from a couple of years ago where they're both in the playoffs if they tie.
Yes.
It's kind of the same deal. Now, I did see a tweet last night. I think it's hilarious. If I'm Team Italy, I'm sending my guys up there without a bat. Because they're guaranteed to go. If you're Italy, you could literally give Mexico a 1-0 lead and then just cruise the rest of the way, and then Mexico and Italy goes, and they don't have to worry about Team USA anymore in the bracket play. That is also in line. I think that would be a mockery of the game. At that point, it'd be like, why are we watching this, right? I mean, TV. I don't think Fox would allow that to happen at this point in time.
Congratulations, Tubi. You get the game back starting in the 4th inning.
be just as much of a sham as the Ben Adebayo thing last night. Did you see that?
Yes, we will get to that
That is
later.
serious NBA stuff.
We will get to that later.
On top of the fact that the Raiders, by the way, hey, they got the draft picks back, or the Ravens got the draft picks back. Shut down the Maxx Crosby trade. All right, here's how everything else lays out for the WBC. Taking a look at the standings right now. We already know Japan's the 1 seed out of Pool C. Korea is the 2 seed out of Pool C. They both advance. Venezuela and Dominican Republic are playing for the 1 or the 2. Whoever wins that game gets South Korea. Whoever loses that game gets Japan. That's pretty much of incentive to win that game, I would say. Japan's very, very good. So that's how those 4 teams have already advanced. In Pool A, Canada won last night against Puerto Rico, which opens up the door now for Canada and Cuba in the final game of Pool A, and they play each other. So Canada will play Cuba, and that will determine who gets to advance. And if Canada wins, they would actually get the 1 seed, if I'm not mistaken. That would be correct, right? Because they would have beaten Puerto Rico already because they won last night. Let me double check. Yeah, so Canada beat Puerto Rico last night. So a win tonight for Canada, and they get to claim the 1 seed. If they lose, Cuba gets to go in, and they get the 2. So if Canada wins, they get the 1. If Cuba wins, they get the 2. Whoever loses that game is eliminated. That's a fun game tonight. Tonight. That game's at noon, by the way. That game's at noon. So that will be a fun one to watch on Fox Sports 2 today, between those 2 teams battling for another spot. Again, Dominican Republic and Venezuela, they are playing for an opportunity to get the 1 seed, and then Italy and Mexico is the crazy game that involves tiebreakers and whatnot for to see if USA goes or not. So as of right now, some of the bracket that's up for grabs right now. The winner of Venezuela and Dominican Republic will play South Korea on March 13th in Miami. And then the loser of the Venezuela-Dominican Republic game will play Japan on March 14th. And that game will be at 6 o'clock Pacific time. And then on the other side of things would be, and there's a bunch of different scenarios. If Canada wins tonight, they would get the 1, which means they would play the 2 of Pool B, which could be Italy, USA, or Mexico. If Canada loses tonight, then Puerto Rico gets the 1 and Cuba gets the 2. And again, the 1 on Pool A will play the 2 of Pool B and vice versa in the bracket play. So that's kind of everything you need to know about the WBC from last night. The interesting stuff with like how USA like completely fumbled the bag last night in the WBC as well. I mean, that was a bag fumbling by Team USA. So now they got to sweat it out. When we come back, we go back into Padres baseball. Walker Buehler, did he pitch his way onto the team? We'll answer that question when we come back on the Braden Surprenant Show, Standings Number Sports Station, 97 through the Fan. The NBA might be the most wide open it's been in years right now. There's no dynasty, no unstoppable super team. And with 2 months left in the season, about 6 or 7 teams could realistically win the NBA title. San Antonio suddenly sitting at the top of the power rankings behind Victor Wembanyama, who's dominating both ends of the floor. The defending champion Oklahoma City Thunder are still right there, led by MVP candidate SGA. Detroit has shocked the league with Cade Cunningham playing like a superstar and pushing the Pistons toward the top of the East. Boston keeps winning even without Jason Tatum, while Jaylen Brown has stepped up as the main guy. New York Knicks, who everyone said couldn't defend, now have the best defense in the NBA over the last 7 weeks. Meanwhile, the Denver Nuggets and Minnesota Timberwolves are lurking in the West, and Charlotte has quietly won 15 of their last 18 games. So the question here, is the NBA wide open this season, or are we just waiting for one superstar to take over the playoffs? I look at this, Frank, and we're inside that final stretch of the NBA regular season, and right now, the biggest takeaway across the league is simple. there is no dominant team in the NBA.
No, there's no dominant team, but the playoff race is getting clearer. The latest power rankings are showing who is rising and who is slipping and who could be dangerous come April. Right now, the hottest team might actually be the San Antonio Spurs, sitting at the top of the power rankings and continuing to prove that they're not just a young team anymore and that they are very legitimate contenders. Of course, Victor Wembanyama helps.
Yeah, who continues to change the game on both ends of the floor and looks like the defensive player of the year lock while pushing toward MVP conversation. We've talked about that the last couple of weeks. It's been SGA versus Jokic, Denver versus Oklahoma City, back and forth. And then last week it was like, oh, well, the Spurs are starting to make a little bit of a run, which means Wembanyama has now entered the conversation for MVP. Right behind them, though, of course, the Oklahoma City Thunder, as we said, who just keep winning even when they're missing pieces, and they're still getting MVP level play out of SGA, and they're built with depth and defense that travels in the playoffs. But the biggest surprise is in the East, Frank.
Yep, absolutely. The Detroit Pistons have been sitting at or near the top of the conference for most of the season, powered by Cade Cunningham, who is quietly putting together an MVP caliber season and proving that the Pistons rebuild might have arrived earlier than expected. Meanwhile, the Boston Celtics are still winning games despite not having Jason Tatum. He did have his season debut over the weekend. Jaylen Brown has stepped up to be the main star for Boston. They've won 12 of their last 14 games, and they are slowly climbing up the rankings, as well as the New York Knickerbockers. For years, people have said the Knicks could not defend, but now since mid-January, pretty much since the All-Star break, the Knicks have had the best defense in the NBA.
Yeah, they're led by Jalen Brunson, plus defensive pieces like OG Anunoby and Mitchell Robinson. New York has won 15 of their last 19 games and climbed back into the top 5. But the big question with the Knicks, and really most teams right now, is whether the regular season success will actually translate into the playoffs, because postseason basketball exposes weaknesses very quickly. And in Denver, the Nuggets are one of the most interesting teams in the league right now. Even with Nikola Jokic playing at an MVP level again, Denver has only one win in their last 7 weeks against a team above 500. They're still dangerous. They're still racking up wins. They're still taking care of business against teams that aren't very good, but they're not playing like the juggernaut we have seen before.
Yeah, and they're also, they're just playing the schedule ahead of them, and the schedule ahead of them right now just appears to be very weak. Another team, you mentioned the Denver Nuggets, another team that's lurking right now in the Western Conference is the Minnesota Timberwolves. They've won 7 of their last 8, and Anthony Edwards is one of the hottest scorers in the NBA right now, shooting 40% from 3 while carrying Minnesota offensively. And do not overlook this surprise story in the East. The Charlotte Hornets are actually making a pretty decent push right now.
Yeah, Charlotte has won 15 of their last 18 games, and they're making that push to the playoffs, or towards playoff positioning. It's funny with them and Detroit, and you had all the fighting and everything that was going on in the contest there. It's really sparked both teams at this point in time, at this point in the season. So maybe it's a little bit like a hockey fight, hitting the sticks on the side, all excited to get the momentum back on your side of things. But is the NBA wide open? Or are we just waiting for real contenders to separate? Because right now you can make the case for 6 or 7 teams to make a run at the NBA finals and make a run at a championship. Spurs, Thunder, in the West, as well as the Nuggets and the Timberwolves. And you got some good teams out there in the East as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I wouldn't read too much into it. It's one of the pictures. It's the picture for our thumbnail this week. Pistons just lost to the Brooklyn Nets, and those losses at this late stage in the season are going to happen in a very, very close game as well. Wouldn't read too much into that, but I think the perennial favorites are the ones that are going to be lined up the best for playoff success, and it's up to the teams like the Pistons, like the Timberwolves, and possibly even the Charlotte Hornets to prove
All guests on 97 to the Fan or join us on the SDCCU Fan Hotline. It's not big bank banking. It's better. He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant. It's the Braden Surprenant Show. San Diego's number one sports station, 97.3 The Fan. All right. We got some Padres stuff to talk about. If you want to talk more about the WBC, maybe we'll get into it later. Big games today that impact all three games today are must. They're clinch deciding games, if you will. They're all meaningful. There's no meaningless number one team in the bracket taking on the fifth team in the bracket. I think the WBC did a pretty good job scheduling this year. We talked about the situations and scenarios for Team USA to advance with Mexico and Italy playing tonight. We'll talk about that later on in the show as well. But if you missed any of it, you can go back on YouTube youtube.com/@B_SURP. Trying to up our subscribers. Got a lot of content on there as well. Talked about the Anaheim Ducks being in first in a video this week. We got some NBA updates for you out there as well. The San Diego Goals update will be up there. Also, we got so much content on there with local teams here in town, as well as what's going on in the National Football League, the NBA, the NHL, all that stuff. So if you haven't done so already, subscribe. Juan's been a member for a month. We appreciate Juan. Big round of applause for Juan. And you can follow all of our stuff on there. All right, let's get to the San Diego Padres. Let's lock back into the Padres as we go from Houston for the World Baseball Classic back to Peoria for what was another start for Walker Buehler. Now, Walker Buehler had a decent outing yesterday. We're going to dive deeper into it in just a little bit. But he's really reinventing himself as a pitcher. So this is what his performance was against the Angels. 3 2/3 innings, 2 runs allowed, 5 hits, 2 walks, 2 strikeouts. And the big change was only 6 four-seam fastballs thrown. Now, who noticed that while the game was going on, Frank? We did.
Yes.
We were monitoring to see how many fastballs he threw. And the final, I agree with Jocelyn. You're supposed to play this for Juan, but you know what? It's because Juan upsets you enough.
I was working and not paying attention.
Jocelyn gives you the round of applause. She's cheering for Juan instead of Arizona State right now. So we were monitoring Walker Buehler as he pitched throughout the contest yesterday. 6 fastballs. He's not the power pitcher he used to be. He knows he's not the power pitcher he used to be, so he's reinventing himself to be a different style of pitcher. And so this was the pitch breakdown from yesterday. 16 sweepers, 6 fastballs, 6 changeups, and he mixed in some sinkers. Buehler's starting to lean more towards his secondary pitches to succeed, and we have seen pitchers do this. I think Yu Darvish did this very well in changing the style of pitcher he was and not relying on the fastball and instead putting in other pitches and other pitch mixes and pitch shape and all that stuff. Now, this is what Buehler said after the game. Says his elbow is finally pain-free for the first time in 2 years. He has more confidence throwing the sweeper again, and it has been his best pitch for right-handers in 2021. And it's a newer pitch for him because they made some tweaks for this sweeper last week. Ruben Diablo did. So he's competing for the final rotation spot with German Marquez. The wild card now, as laid out in this article by Kevin Acee, is the Joe Musgrove health concerns. Now, I don't think they're major health concerns, but I think, Frank, I would not be surprised. This is when we went over the roster yesterday. I would not be surprised if the Padres were on opening weekend without Joe Musgrove because they want him for the whole season. They don't want him just for like the beginning part. They got to make sure he's fully healthy. And if Walker Buehler and German Marquez continue to pitch really well in spring training, you give him the extended tryout. Guess what? You can let Joe Musgrove ease into being a pitcher that's going to get you the innings that you want later in the year, the more meaningful innings than at the beginning part of the season.
Yeah, that was a conversation that we had a couple of weeks ago, actually, was the fact that you can start him on the IL and use this as more of an extended tryout for guys like German Marquez and for Walker Buehler. So it wasn't necessarily outside the realm of possibility that could happen. But hearing now, and we'll get into it a little bit more in the next hour, hearing that Musgrove it's not being shut down, but is being slowed down a little bit, I think kind of leans towards that could be the route that the Padres are looking at going, not necessarily because he's hurt, but just to spare him a little bit of workload coming off of Tommy John surgery.
Right. Anybody that would be freaking out, oh my God, he's hurt. Oh my God, he's not. Relax. Okay. There's a couple of things here. I think the Padres with the competition, I was talking about this before the show started, with the competition they brought in and the guys, really rising to the occasion and competing for spots, I really think it gives the Padres more ability to not have to rush back players. They don't have to rush back Joe if he's not ready or if he's not 100%. They can ease him in. They do not have to rush back Jason Adam because the bullpen's been doing really well. They don't have to rush back Yuki Matsui. The depth is there, and a lot of these guys they can't protect on the roster because they're out of options or whatever it may be. So I think this works out perfectly for the Padres where they don't have to have Joe Musgrove on the team to start the year. They can let him ease into it. And as we talked about with Joe, we talked about it with him at FanFest, did we not, Frank? Yep. We talked about the fact that he wants to be making meaningful starts later in the year, and he doesn't mind skipping starts. He doesn't mind being spread out. He doesn't mind really, as we've mentioned multiple times, easing back into it. And I think with Walker Buehler and German Marquez doing what they've done so far, it gives the Padres a little bit more comfortability in making that decision.
And not only those two, but also Griffin Canning, who's, again, he's going to be in potentially the same boat of missing the first month. But even if Joe still doesn't feel 100% ready, they can rely on Griffin Canning to come back and pick up some of that slack if Buehler and or Marquez aren't pulling their weight. So they don't have to rush him back before he feels ready because they still have that option of Griffin Canning available.
I think it sets up perfectly where you don't have to worry about it. You don't have to worry about making a 6-man rotation where it takes away from your bullpen. I think it also puts in effect that you can build in basically an extended tryout for April for Walker Buehler and German Marquez. And they're going to be competing against each other for that final rotation spot still for when Griffin Canning comes back. And then Joe Musgrove comes back or whatever it may be. And we've said it multiple times, these things usually have a way of working themselves out. And so it's a way to keep as many guys in the organization as possible. And I just love the fact that this continues to be a problem. Because at the beginning of spring training, we could pretend like it's a problem and be like, well, they got to make all these decisions before they even start playing games. And then somebody does really well. A couple of guys don't do very well. And it's like, all right, easy decision. We can cut X, Y, Z. But it's still a problem. And we're 2 weeks away from opening day. These are good problems to have if you're the Padres in terms of building the best 26-man roster you can.
They're the best type of problem to have. And it's almost like once presented with new information, your opinion on some people or something can change. And that's exactly what we've seen. We're not really considering Tristan McKenzie as a big piece of the future of this team anymore. Gonzalez is still he's still kind of in the background as well. It's really come down to German Marquez and Walker Buehler. And honestly, I think it does give the Padres the best flexibility. And for all those guys, well, you guys were all in on a 6-man rotation. We were all in on a 6-man rotation if nobody got hurt, which in the back of your mind, you're always kind of expecting. You're always expecting somebody to go down or somebody that you were not expecting to go on the IL to start the season on the IL. And that's where we're finding ourselves right now. We also knew that Joe Musgrove starting on the IL was a very, very real possibility. The 6-man rotation was best case scenario on all levels. No one gets hurt and everybody performs. But now you're in a spot where we're slowing Joe Musgrove down because, as he said, he felt like he had surgery over these last couple of days. So now things are starting to become more clear. It's looking like it is going to be a 5-man rotation. It's looking like it is going to be German Marquez and plus an extra spot. Looks like it's going to be Walker Buehler now.
I don't really need to defend the 6-man rotation. I am always open to creating situations that benefit the team that I have, whether it be changing scheme, whether it be changing strategy, some approaches to things. The Padres have a lot of starting pitchers that are doing well. The 6-man rotation seems optimal. So I don't just get locked in on just one thing. I mean, as a coach, I'm constantly trying to change my scheme based on the personnel I have that year. And I think that's always a nice line, nice path, if you will. But again, like we're not even the first one. Kind of brought that up when they called the show. What was that, 3 weeks ago? Like he had this gut feeling that Joe Musgrove was going to start the season on the IL. And I think if he starts the season on the IL, it's not bad news, Padres fans. I just think let's just spread out the year a little bit with Joe.
Yeah, they did.
Let's ease him into it.
Did the same thing with Yu Darvish a couple of years ago and last year for that matter as well. So if Joe Musgrove, he's already shown that he can pitch, he can throw, he's not missing bullpen days. He didn't say that there's discomfort in his elbow after his start, in which he went 3 innings through 55 pitches. That's him working towards getting back. So if Musgrove starts the year on the IL, it's not because he's hurt. It's because he's hurt, trying to.
It's not catastrophically bad.
Yeah, no, it's not like a new injury. It's not like the Tommy John surgery didn't work. It's more of just we're saving him up a little bit. We're cashing in early on giving him some rest instead of possibly hitting a quote unquote innings limit at the end of the season and missing him for a potentially crucial start.
Arizona State's cut the lead to 4 touchdowns.
Well,
nice opening drive to start the second half.
Yeah, they scored more points in the second half already than they have in the first.
Oh, ouch.
Well, that's...
Well, not true, but yes,
is it
it's
a
very
diss
close.
if it's a fact?
It's not a fact yet.
Well,
it's about to be, though. No, because they've only scored 7 points in the second half.
Well.
They had 16 in the first. They're close, though.
They're on a better pace.
They are on a way better pace. They've actually scored more than half, right? Yeah, no, almost. They've almost scored half the amount of points in the half amount of the points that they had in the first half. They have now scored in the first 5 minutes of the second half. Oh, there you go. There's a board. I like J.R. Blunt, dude. When Iowa State's on defense, he's in a stance. He is slapping the floor and he's in a stance. USD, get excited. Get excited. I want to take a deeper dive into the Walker Buehler outing from yesterday. We have his analytics and we'll look at his numbers and kind of tell you the new pitcher that he's really developing into. But Kevin Acee also had a report on Nick Pivetta. He is still tracking towards opening day. He missed the start due to arm fatigue. You're going to get some of the dead arm a little bit in spring training. He threw a light bullpen on Tuesday. He is scheduled to start Saturday, and he is likely maybe the opening day starter. They haven't announced that yet. That's why we're talking about it in that kind of way. And in 2025, he was great. 2.85 ERA, 181 and 2/3 innings. So Nick Pivetta looks like he's on track to potentially go against Tarek Skubal on opening day. Now, Tarek Skubal has not been named the starter either on opening day yet. I don't think so. I don't think the Tigers have. But let's be honest. I was really hoping he'd pitch again for Team USA because then it would push him back a couple of days to start the season. Bummer.
Oh, darn.
See what happens when you let the Italians win? You should have pitched Tarek, man. Should have picked the Seattle U guy. Come on. All right, we're going to talk about Walker Buehler in just a little bit, but I think the view of because yesterday or 2 days ago I said like if Walker Buehler can't hit 92, man, I don't know how much I want to see Walker Buehler, but if he has changed his pitch mix up, and he is, I mean, at the end of the day, as long as you're getting outs, that's all that really matters. He doesn't have to be the guy throwing 98 and blowing it past you. He could mix in all these other pitches, and his secondary pitches have been really good. And if you look at what he did yesterday with the amount of sweepers he threw and changeups and the sinkers that he had mixed in. I mean, it's just kind of you have to view it differently. This is a different Walker Buehler. It's not the Walker Buehler that can throw high velocity and blow it past you. This is a guy that is going to be a little bit more crafty and has some little bit more nasty stuff. But can Walker Buehler still be a frontline type starter if he's no longer throwing 98 or 100? He doesn't have to be for the Padres, but it's a discussion we're going to get into when we come back in the 11 o'clock hour. We'll also hear from Craig Stammen on Walker Buehler's outing as we continue on the Braden Surprenant Show, San Diego's number one sports station, 97 through the Fan. Hour number 2 of the Braden Surprenant Show, live and local each every day from 10 to 2 on San Diego's Urban Sports Station 97.3 The Fan. For Frank Marchese, I'm Braden Surprenant. We got a lot to talk about today when it comes to the Padres. We got the conversation about the World Baseball Classic. Ben on a bio last night. Put an asterisk next to his name. Did you see the final minutes of that game? Jeez.
Greatest tweet I've seen, though, out of that game is, I don't watch the NBA much, but shout out to Bam Margera.
Nice. The Arizona State Sun Devils have cut the deficit to 30. Nice. Shout out to Gonzo's mom and grandparents listening to us. The frog and the dog on the way to visit the new niece. Congratulations,
yes,
by the way.
congratulations.
The Gonzo's family. All right. Let's get to Walker Buehler's outing from yesterday. Another turnover. It's bad basketball, Arizona State. Iowa State's good. They're good. All right. There's a couple of things I want to let's take a deeper dive into the metrics of this particular outing. And I think the more you look at Walker Buehler from a standpoint of a new type of pitcher, the more you'll understand why he has now pitched his way onto this team. And they open the door here of maybe Joe Musgrove starting on the injured list. Not that there's been any setbacks or anything like that, just the way that the Padres have been monitoring and getting him back up to speed. They have the luxury of doing something like that because they have Walker Buehler and they have Germán Márquez pitching well this spring so far. Now, we've only seen one outing out of Germán Márquez. We've only seen two outings out of Walker Buehler. But if you look at Walker Buehler from a standpoint of reinventing himself as a pitcher and not being the high velo guy, you'll understand a little bit more about why he is going to be on this team, why we think he's going to be on this team. Let's start with the game line first. So the game line that he had, 3 2/3 innings, 2 earned runs, 5 hits, a walk, 2 strikeouts, 9 whiffs, a 29% CSW. Do you know what a CSW is, Frank? Called strikes plus whiffs.
Okay.
So his 29% of called strikes plus whiffs was pretty good because the league averages roughly 27 to 28%.
See, I was going to say, isn't that just a strike in that case, but then foul ball? So that kind of throws that out.
That is correct. He did that on 68 pitches. Again, Buehler at 29% for CSW means his stuff has played slightly above average yesterday. That's good to know. It's good information. Now, his overall pitch grade, pitcher list gave overall skill grades for Walker Buehler yesterday. They gave him a C+ on stuff. They gave him a B- on location. They gave him a C on pitch value. His raw stuff was average. His command was slightly above average. His overall performance was solid, but not dominant. But in comparison to early season, early spring ramp up and the spring training ramp up, again, it's the second start, not bad overall in terms of how he's been pitching in the spring. If he was doing this in the regular season, you'd be concerned. Follow me so far? Now, I think the biggest conversation with Walker Buehler has been his fastball, right? I mean, that's kind of what everybody's been worried about, the fastball for Walker Buehler. So here's what his fastball numbers were. I think you have to look at it, the fact that he only threw 6 four-seam fastballs. There's another fastball that he was throwing. It was a sinker. Now, this is what his that's probably going to be his primary fastball now, I would imagine, because his four-seam fastball was not very good. Now, his sinker averaged 92.5 miles an hour. He had 6.5 feet extension, which is how much extension he has when he releases the ball on, as he's pitching. And what that means is the ball seems like it's coming to a batter quicker than it actually is. 11 inches on the induced vertical break. Not all right. Not that great, but again, you want the sinking action, not the rising action. But he had 14.5 inches on horizontal run. So the pitch runs arm side. It sinks a ton, and that's designed for ground balls and weak contact, which is interesting because Walker Buehler historically has used a four-seam fastball a lot more, but this outing, leaned into the sinker approach. And Frank, I think this means that he's going to throw a lot of sinkers this year. And if you got a guy like Walker Buehler, he might not be throwing high velo, but he's got that sinking action to his fastball at 92 and getting ground balls in weak contact with the infield the Padres have, that's going to play really well at Petco Park.
Yeah, and the sinker, I think he threw the sinker harder on average than the fastball
harder, for sure
yesterday. So I always do love that sinker ball pitcher. I also love the two-seamer, especially with guys on base, to be able to get ground balls and be able to get double plays. Now, you do have to have a good infield if you are going to be a ground ball pitcher, because a lot of those
Machado
balls,
guy over there is pretty good, huh?
Yeah, so is that Xander Bogaerts guy, and Jake Cronenworth's not that bad, but
I know we stopped at first base.
Well, we don't necessarily know who the first baseman is right now, but
carry on.
Yeah, that is a very, very good sign, especially at Petco where the ball doesn't fly all that well. To be able to have a ground ball pitcher like that would be, I think, very, very big for him at Petco on a regular basis.
His usage was pretty much the same to left-handers as it was right-handers from yesterday. So he threw his sinker 24% of the time yesterday.
Bless you.
Are you telling me that's not cool on the court, by the way? They're showing highlights during the timeout break.
That's incredible.
Yeah, it is incredible.
And by the way,
Squirrel.
Well, it's hard to notice. It's such a great basketball court that the Big 12 has that people like to complain about. Look how cool that is. They're showing actual highlights of the game on the court for everybody in the arena.
And one more time for the people in the back.
Squirrel.
And then it goes to the regular court. I'm just saying.
Up in the rafters.
Squirrel.
You can't say it's not cool.
Oh, it is cool.
Yeah. If I didn't address that, you would have missed it. All right, back to Walker Buehler. His pitch mix.
And my life wouldn't have changed.
Don't be rude. His pitch mix against left-handers, same thing really as against right-handers. Threw the sinker the most, 24% of the time. Against lefties, threw the sweeper 19%, slider 16%, curveball, cutter, both 12%, changeup. He threw the four-seam fastball 9% of the time against left-handed hitters. It was relatively the same for right-handed hitters. He didn't locate as well against righties, and we're going to get to that in a second. But the other thing with Walker Buehler with his pitch mix against righties, sinker, same as the lefties, 24%. Slider, slightly down, 18 to 19%. His sweeper, he only threw 10% of the time against righties and 16% of the time against lefties, which is he actually threw sliders more against right-handers than sweepers. And then, curveball, relatively the same, 12% each. He threw the cutter only 2% against right-handers, and he threw it 12% against lefties. So obviously different pitch mixes for the different arm side run, glove side run on his pitches. But the main takeaway between the righty and lefties in terms of pitch arsenal, the sinker sweeper combo, that's, I think, what you're going to see a lot of this year with Walker Buehler. I think you're going to see the sinker sweeper combo throughout the year. And I think this outing yesterday was the sign of this is what he's going to have to work on pitch wise, because this is the type of pitcher he's going to be in 2026.
We see it a lot with like knuckleballers, where we know that the knuckleball is their primary pitch. There are a lot of pitchers out there who don't have a straight fastball or don't rely on that as their number one pitch. So it's not that surprising to see him rely on a sinker or to see him rely on a sweeper if this is how he feels and how Ruben Niebla and the rest of the pitching coach staff feel as though this is the best way for him to proceed. As long as he's buying into it and as long as he's giving it his best effort, I don't see why a guy like Walker Buehler can't make that change work going into the regular season.
I think this is going to be a good pitch mix for Walker Buehler. The sinker sweeper combo, which, is fastball slider combo to an extent, right? But you like it. Now, you could see like kind of the movement chart. I mean, his fastballs rose a little bit, the ones that weren't the sinker. He had a lot of dropping pitches yesterday, some good horizontal movement, but Buehler has large horizontal movement separation between his sweeper, slider, sinker, and cutter, which coming out of the hand, all looking the same, makes it very hard for hitters to track pitches. And I like the way that like the ball's moving. He's getting a lot of good horizontal break on a lot of his pitches, and he's going to go more of like instead of like the high velo stuff, it's going to be more side to side and difficult to hit, difficult to square up stuff. And when you're a number 4, number 5 starter, Frank, you could benefit from those things.
Yeah, you're looking for the name of the game in pitching, at least, is to just make sure guys do not get solid contact on you. And that is exactly what like a slider, a sweeper, two-seamer breaking back towards the arm side. That is something that those pitchers are very, very good at doing, especially if you get a little bit of drop on your slider as well with it. I mean, those are huge pluses for those pitches. And if he can really get them moving, if he can play around with the velocity as well, that could be very, very big for him this year.
In terms of his location yesterday, Walker Buehler, against left-handed hitters, A+. He located extremely well against lefties. He really looked good against left-handed hitters yesterday. And against right-handed hitters, more scattered command. He got a C grade according to this graphic. But it tells us his command was much sharper against lefties. Obviously, get A+ against the lefties, C against righties. It makes a lot of sense. His pitch type metrics, this section of this particular graph that we're talking about, is the most important analytically. And this is how his pitches individually did. So his sweeper, again, was his best pitch 2 starts in a row, Frank, because it was his best pitch last Thursday when he pitched, and this week, still his best pitch. Now, he had a 58% whiff rate on the sweeper yesterday. His pitching plus was a 121. Again, that's 21 percentage points higher than an average pitcher. And then he had a 90 PLV. So the pitch was nasty. The sweeper was one of his best pitches and is probably going to be his strikeout weapon this season. You move on to his slider. Again, it's going to be slightly different than the sweeper, the way it moves. He had a 46% chase and called strike whiff rate. 46% on the called strike whiff, where 27 to 28 is kind of league average. 110 on the pitching plus, which was better than an average pitch. Very strong pitch in the slider. His sinker, this is the one that's pretty good. Because again, the fastball wasn't a very good pitch. The sinker, higher in velo, had a 77% sink rate. Not a big swing and miss pitch, but good for strikes and contact management. And you kind of need that at this point in your career when you're trying to get outs. The sinker has been a very good pitch added to his arsenal during spring training. Curveball, his whiff rate was 25%, 102 on the pitching plus. That's a slightly above average on a solid secondary pitch. His changeup, 33% on the called strike and whiff, which is very effective against opposite-handed hitters. Fastball, worst pitch of the outing. His four-seam fastball, worst pitch of the outing, just like it kind of was his last outing. I would imagine the more we see Walker Buehler pitch, Frank, the less four-seam fastballs we see out of him.
Yeah, and he only threw it 6 times yesterday. He threw the sweeper 16, sinker 13, slider 11, curve 8, cutter 8, changeup and four-seam were both 6. So, and if you look at the numbers, his cutter statistically was his best pitch on all of those metrics. There's absolutely no blue on his cutter line. Same thing with the changeup as well. But it's all blue on the four-seamer. So I really would not be surprised if he just started to phase that pitch out entirely.
Do you remember
to try to get guys napping?
Do you remember what his pitch usage was on Thursday with the fastball?
I do not know.
That was the pitch he threw the most. He threw his four-seam fastball 25% of the time last Thursday. He threw it 6% of the time yesterday. That sinker we're talking about, he threw that 13% of the time last Thursday. It became his number one pitch that he threw with the sweeper this time out. So there's obviously the adjustment right there just in the pitch usage, but he turned his fastball that was the number one pitch that he had into the pitch that he doesn't use anymore. And that sinker jumped from like the 4th or 5th pitch used most to now the number one pitch. That tells you everything you need to know about when we have these conversations of they're working on things, he's working on his sinker, he's working on his sweeper. Those are the pitches that you're going to see Walker Buehler throw most of the time this year. So what does this overall, these metrics mean? Because I know it's a lot of information, but the analytics of Walker Buehler's outing say something very interesting. He wasn't overpowering hitters with his velocity, but he was getting and generating whiffs with his breaking ball arsenal. And his sweeper especially looks like a real weapon. And I think those are enough to be able to be a 4 or 5 starter for the San Diego Padres in 2026 and really round out this rotation, Frank.
At least for the first month. And we'll see whether or not he outpitches German Marquez, because that's who he's facing. He just has to pitch better than German Marquez by the time Griffin Canning is ready to come back or Joe Musgrove is ready to come back. After that, then he's really, if he beats out German Marquez, then he really has to make an impression, be able to stay on the roster when Joe or Griffin Canning comes back, whichever one doesn't come back first. So I think he's in line to make the team right now after looking at all of the other starting pitching prospects that the Padres have that could take that spot. And I mean, the Tristan McKenzie's, the Gonzalez's. But I don't know if this is going to be enough to be able to stay beyond that first hurdle, which is Canning or Musgrove returning.
The advanced pitch data that we have talked about has shown that Walker Buehler isn't really relying on his overpowering velocity right now. His fastball was about 92, 93, but the real story was his breaking ball and his breaking stuff. His sweeper generated nearly a 60% swing and miss rate in yesterday's outing, which is elite. And his slider was also very effective. What this outing shows is Walker Buehler may be evolving into more of a pitch mix and movement pitcher rather than a high velocity guy that he was earlier in his career. And I think that's enough to really make this team. The big 3 talking points out of this outing: sweeper looks like a strikeout weapon, 58% whiff rate. Fastball still not dominant. 4-seam fastball produced 0 whiffs, only threw it 6 times. And the command is improving. His location grade, B- overall, A+ versus lefties. That's improved from the last game that he pitched in. And Walker Buehler is trending towards a pitch mix command pitcher rather than the power pitcher. And if the sweeper keeps missing bats, that can absolutely work in today's game. So he'll be fun to watch as we move forward here. We'll talk more about the Padres pitching staff in just a little bit, but what did Craig Stammen think about Walker Buehler, what this starting rotation could potentially look like? We'll hear from Craig when we come back on the Braden Surprenant Show, Settings Over Sports Station 97.3 The Fan. The San Diego Gulls just delivered one of their biggest wins of the season. After dropping 3 straight games, San Diego responded with a 6-4 win over Rockford, snapping the skid and keeping themselves firmly in the Pacific Division playoff race. And the night belonged to Ryan Carpenter. The Gulls captain scored his 100th and 101st career AHL goals, both on the power play, finishing with a 3-point night. The special teams were huge. San Diego scored 4 goals with the power play and penalty kill, including a shorthanded breakaway by Nikita Nestorenko. Rookie defenseman Stian Solberg added another goal, and Nicholas Brulard became the all-time goals leader in goals by a defenseman. The Gulls now sit 6th in the Pacific Division, but they're right in the middle of the playoff race. And with a big matchup coming up against San Jose this week, the question now is simple. Are the Gulls about to start rolling at the right time, or are they still searching for consistency before the playoff push? The Gulls may just have had one of the most important weekends of the season. After dropping the 3 straight games, Frank, they really bounced back with a big win over Rockford.
Yeah, 6-4 win over Rockford, snapping that skid, keeping themselves in the playoff race right now, sitting 6th in the Pacific Division at 62 points, right in the middle of the fight, only a few points behind Coachella Valley and Bakersfield, trying to stay ahead of Henderson and Tucson. So it's starting to feel like playoff hockey in the AHL already.
Yeah, this stretch is very important for the Gulls. But what happened this week? It started with a 3-2 loss to San Jose and the Barracuda. Gulls were competitive, but San Jose continues to show why they're 3rd in the division. Still, there were positive. Tristan Leno scored and continues to develop into one of the Gulls' most productive defensemen. Matthew Phillips added another assist and now has nearly 40 points on the season. And Sasha Pasturov continues to lead them offensively. And, it was they might have lost, but the games, again, continue to be competitive and close, even in losses.
Yeah, absolutely. And this next one is no different. They came home for a 2-game set against Rockford. Friday night did not go their way. They lost 3-2, despite goals from Passagov and Sam Colangelo. Head coach Matt McIlvain said the difference came down to a few mistakes that Rockford capitalized on. Saturday night, though, different story. Exploded for 6 goals, a 6-4 win, snapping the losing streak that they needed to really break. And it was a night full of milestones and big performances.
Yeah, you look at some of the key player trends this past week. A few players are really driving this team right now. Sasha Pastujov named leader he's now the team leader with 40 points. He continues to be the Gulls' most consistent offensive weapon. Matthew Phillips, nearly 40 points as well, has 10 points in his last 10 games. And defensively, Tristan Leno, 11 points in his last 13 games, looking more confident every week.
Yeah, absolutely. And also you got Callie Klang sitting in net, continuing to steadily improve, 14, 4, and 6 on the season after that big win against Roxford, ahead of guys doing what they've done, like Ryan Carpenter, his 100 and 101st career AHL goals, finishing with 3 points. Solberg scoring his 9th goal of the season in his rookie campaign. Nikita Nestorenko scoring the first shorthanded goal of his AHL career. Nicholas Brouillard becoming the all-time goals leader in goals by a defenseman, passing Brandon Montour, who's now off to bigger and better things in the NHL. So it's been a full team effort from the net all the way out to the center line.
And that's not even talking about Nathan Gauthier, who quietly has produced 12 points in his last 14 games as well. But here's where you're at in the standings. Gulls are in a fascinating position right now. They're 6th in the Pacific Division, but the race is extremely tight. Ontario leads the division. Colorado and San Jose are right behind. Bakersfield and Coachella Valley sit just ahead of San Diego, but right behind the Gulls, Henderson and Tucson, both chasing playoff spots. So every point matters right now.
Yep, and every matchup is going to be inside the division, especially the upcoming ones against San Jose this weekend are now absolutely huge because you're fighting for those spots. You're fighting for every point that you can possibly find, if not to catch up, to stay ahead from those nipping at your heels behind.
Well, even the best part, too, is the Gulls survived the trade deadline.
Yes, they
did. The Gulls survived the trade deadline. The Ducks only traded away a couple of draft picks and a defenseman from the big club, from their own club. And so with not a lot of moves, a lot of young talent still here in the Ducks organization, but more specifically in San Diego.
Absolutely. And that's a huge, huge point that will probably be overlooked because you think the NHL is the key focus of the trade deadline. But for teams with minor league towns, those teams tend to get broken up pretty bad during the trade deadline. And San Diego was able to stay pretty firm and consistent.
Playoff push time now for the Gulls in the month of March on to the couple first weeks of April. Should be a fun. Broadcasting live at the Bill House Studios, we know how. Remember to listen at 1 o'clock for us to announce today's biggest fan for a chance to qualify for a night in our Odyssey suite at a future Padres game with all the fan staff. Register your name at 97through-thefansd.com/biggest fan in order to potentially have your name called. He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant. This is the Braden Surprenant Show, live and local each every day from 10 to 2 on San Diego's number one sports station, 97.3 The Fan. We'll give you the update on Joe Musgrove that Craig Stammen talked about yesterday, that Kevin Acey wrote an article on yesterday. But just to kind of put the final touch on this Walker Buehler conversation, we got to hear from Walker Buehler and Craig Stammen about the outing yesterday. And let's hear from Walker Buehler first to see how he felt in his outing, his second spring training outing.
68 pitches, is that the plan? Yeah, I mean, 4 innings, obviously some long innings and long at bats, but spring training is about getting your work in and getting the reps on the throws that you're going to need to make. So thought we did some good stuff today.
You pitched today.
Mhm.
Like you pitched.
Yep.
Like, it wasn't the fastball. That was, I mean, I know you've talked about that.
Yep.
But what you did today was pretty unique.
Yeah, I mean, in all honesty, I'd like to throw more 4 seams, and I think we'll get there. But against 7 righties, there's going to be more 2-seamer. There's going to be more slider. Since my elbows kind of improved, the sweeper is kind of back in play, and so that's a pitch I probably threw 50 times last year, maybe. So none in the off season. So we're trying to get some reps in that, and then the 2-seamer I think is a weapon for me, but I don't think we're going to use it quite as much as we did today. But all in all, a good day.
So not 5% on the 4-seam, but,
Yeah,
but maybe still a little less than what you've done even last year? Or?
Yeah, listen, I think there's some world in which hard and soft are kind of going to be equal, and whatever mix that is going to be will largely be dependent on matchup and what we're trying to do that day. But 4-seam cutter, 2-seamer, it's kind of the new 3 fastball thing, and then I have the breaking balls and threw a couple really good changeups today. So even some right on right ones, which is very new for me, and good to have success with some of that stuff that you've been working on, and Ruben has been really good in terms of helping me figure out what I can really do with my hand. And so, once the delivery is kind of in a good place, I think that's when we can get creative. And, we've been feeling pretty good the past couple of weeks, and kind of moving towards what we want to be as a finished product.
Walker, is the velocity kind of where you want it to be, or do you think there's room to grow there?
Is there one in the stadium? I didn't see it today.
There was not.
No, I threw some fastballs that felt like I threw them hard. I don't think they're 100, but I don't think they're 88, so it's somewhere where we need to be.
The new sweeper?
It's kind of the old sweeper, to be honest with you. In 21, it was probably my best pitcher, right-handed hitters, and as we've kind of gone along this surgery kind of rehab process, it's just the elbow hasn't really loved it, and didn't really love a whole lot. But now things are feeling better, and delivery's back where I want, so we'll keep tinkering around with it.
You're a veteran. I get the impression, you believe that you know what you're doing, right? Mm-hmm. You got this new pitching coach, and you've talked about kind of melding you want to learn from him, but you know what you're doing. Like, how's that going?
Yeah, I think part of playing in this league for a long time is you pick up, you have to be your own best pitching coach. It just is what it is. And, I think that started for me in college. Scott Brown was an unbelievable. I can give you all the puzzle pieces. You got to put it together. And I've kind of taken that to heart. And, Ruben and I have sat down and had some conversations about lingo or when I'm nervous and getting through warm up, when I say something, like what I'm looking for. That's stuff that takes time, and we're trying to kind of do it on the fly, but so far so good. And all in all, I feel good with where I'm at.
My last one is I know it'll vary and all that, but do you feel more comfortable not having the fastball now than you ever have? Not having that fastball.
No, man. It's kind of like the ex-girlfriend that you fell in love with, right? It's always will want it back. I want to throw 100, and I want it to jump, and I want it to, kind of stand and throw. But the reality is that probably won't happen, and we just gotta, be really good on the execution of it, and keep working through. And I can go play a long toss until my heart's content. I don't think I'm going to sit 98 to 100 anymore, but the quality of it to kind of go with the other things I can do, I think is something that's achievable and attainable.
Thanks, man.
Cool.
A lot of interesting things there. I perked my head up a couple of times with the Walker Buehler stuff. You could have played the phrasing thing a couple of times during that, for sure. The most interesting thing I got out of Walker Buehler's post game was the elbow and how it feels, and the old sweeper, and the success he had with the sweeper before he got hurt, and how his elbow didn't like the sweeper, and over the last couple of years, and he hadn't been good over the last couple of years. He was really good in 2021. And now his elbow likes throwing this. He doesn't feel the pain when he throws the sweeper now. I think that could be a big part of him really bouncing back in 2026.
Yeah, absolutely. It's always good when you can throw an old pitch that you used to throw with pain, and all of a sudden you have no pain in it anymore. That's always a great sign. Him saying he felt like he threw the fastball, not necessarily 88 miles an hour. You're a little bit closer to that, I'm sure, than you thought you were. But again, he only threw 6 of them. So, I mean, he could have thrown one at like 95 and then threw one lower than that. And the average takes big jumps because there's so few of them. But I did get a little bit worried with the ex-girlfriend comment about wanting that fastball back, because that kind of signals to me that if he does get into a bit of a jam, that he might just try to rear back and launch one like he used to be able to, and it might put him in an even worse spot than what he was.
I don't interpret that like that. I don't interpret what he said on the whole like 100-mile-an-hour ex-girlfriend comparison where he wants. I equate that to, it would be nice to be able to throw 100 miles an hour. I feel like that is a little bit more of what he was saying. I don't think it's a, oh my God, I gotta run. I can still get there. I'm gonna hawk this one at the. I think he understands the type of pitcher he is now, and I think he knows that I wish I could still throw that pitch.
Yeah, and my worry is being a competitor, that he might get to a point where he's going to say, you know what, I'm in a bit of a pinch here. Let me try to rip this one. But
Based on his tone though, Frank,
no,
I think it was him coming to realizations like she's never coming back.
Right. But when I'm in the heat of competition, I think I could do things that I can't do.
I get that.
There's the logical thought. He was in logical, realistic mind at that point. When he gets into competition mode, is he still going to listen to realistic mind, or is he going to say, you know what? I think I might got this one for at least one pitch.
I agree with Juan. He doesn't seem delusional about his stuff. He seems like he really understands that he's just not that guy anymore, and he's mixing in other pitches. And I think the confidence, here's the other thing too, as much as you love that ex-girlfriend, like he said, and would love to have her back, he's got the sweeper back. And so he has the new girlfriend that has benefits in a lot of other ways that he can rely on. I get what you're saying.
Phrasing.
I don't think the trying to go back to what he was is going to come in the step of competition.
To be clear.
To be fair.
To be fair.
To be fair.
To be fair.
To be fair. To be fair.
I don't think that he is that can be a concern that is something he might do. I don't think he will, but that is a realistic possibility.
I put that at like a 2%.
But it's not zero now, is it?
Well, nothing's zero. I mean, anything could possibly happen if we want to get into the weeds of that. But a lot of interesting things. We'll hear from Craig Stam when we come back on Walker Buehler's outing. We will also dive into the update on Joe Musgrove, which impacts whether or not I think Walker Buehler makes his team or not. We'll explain more on the other end. The Braden Surprenant Show, San Diego Sports Station, 97.3 The Fan. One of the best finishes of the season happened this week for the UC San Diego Tritons. Tritons went on the road to face UC Santa Barbara in the regular season finale, and it came down to the final seconds of the game. UC Santa Barbara actually took the lead with just 7 seconds left, but UCSD didn't panic. Tom Beatty pushed the ball up the floor, dribbled through pressure, and found freshman Jaden Vance cutting to the basket. Vance went up, layup with less than 1 second left, ball game. Tritons win 64-63. UCSD finished the regular season 22-10 overall and 12-8 in Big West play, earning the number 5 seed in the conference tournament. And if this finish is any indication, the Tritons might be one of the most dangerous teams heading into the Big West tournament. Let's talk about it, Frank. Tritons closed the regular season out in what was such a thrilling finish to the season. getting the game-winning bucket on the road with less than a second to go.
Fun game to watch from up at Phoenix Raceway. USD defeating UC Santa Barbara 64-63 on a last-second layup from freshman Jaden Vance. Vance scored the game winner with less than a second left. Triton scoring forced 17 turnovers and had 16 steals, a season high for them. Bold Dangdit led the team with 15 points, while Tom Beatty added 14. Hudson Mays also scored 12. UCSD finishing 22-10 overall and 12-8 in the Big West, which put them in a tie for third.
On to women's basketball. And women's basketball have had a really good season, a very historic season. Triton women are making program history right now. Defeated UCSB 72-65 to secure a share of the Big West regular season title. Team finished 22-8 overall and 17-3 in conference play. UCSD will be the number 2 seed in the Big West tournament with a double bye to the semifinals.
Yep. Michaela Rose, 25 points in the title clinching win. Lev Feeman, 16 points on 8 of 10 shooting. Erin Condren, 12 points. 8 boards. Dominic Maxey set UC San Diego Division I assist record at 136. As a program record, Erin Condren setting the rebound record at 255, and Michaela Rose broke the single-season steals record with 92 swipes over the course of this season.
On to baseball. Very tough road series for UCSD and Eric Newman's club. Tritons lost the series opener 9-5 to Cincinnati. They dropped a Friday doubleheader 16-1 and 13-3. UCSD is now 4-9 overall on the season, but they did have some bright spots.
Yeah, Gabe Camacho going 4 for 5 with a home run and 2 doubles in the doubleheader. He drove in all 4 of the Triton runs that day. He now has 5 homers, third most in the Big West, and now they finished up that series and will be returning home this week.
On to softball, where they had an early conference challenge. UCSD softball began Big West play against the defending champions, and they dropped the 2 games to UC Santa Barbara. They lost 9-2 in game 1, 8-4 in game 2 of a doubleheader. UCSD recorded 15 hits in game 2, matching a season high, but still had some pretty good performers this weekend.
Malia Cherry hit a home run and now leads the Big West with 6 home runs. Haley Garcia, 3 RBIs in game number 2 of that doubleheader against the Gauchos.
Overall for the Tritons, again, this is a program and a school that is still building up from being a Division II program not too long ago. They have done some really good things already. Future is still bright, but you go back to the men's basketball team, just a thrilling way to end. And the Big West tournament, as we take a deeper dive into the Big West tournament, there are a lot of teams that are going to be a tough out in Las Vegas themselves. Irvine ends up winning the conference. Hawaii had a chance to take a share of the title. They choked it up at home late on Saturday to give the Anteaters the number 1 seed, not only the number 1 seed, but an outright championship on their own. But that top half of the Big West is very scary, and any of these teams can win.
Yeah, absolutely. And looking into UCSD's tournament, they're going to be facing Cal Poly on Wednesday in Henderson. So a nice little test for UC San Diego to get their tournament started.
Should be a fun one this week, and we're going to have UCSD men's and women's basketball live on 97 through the Fan during the Big West tournament. Be sure to stay tuned for more Tritons updates next week. All guests on 97 to the Fan are brought to you by the SDCCU Fan Hotline. It's not big bank banking. It is better. He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant. It's the Braden Surprenant Show, live and local each every day from 10 to 2 on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3. The Fan. Still got a lot to get to when it comes to Padres baseball. We're going to dive into some other topics later on in the show. Do we have a Padres game today? Or they got an off day?
They are off today.
Wow. Padres off day. Everybody playing golf? Is that what you do on the off day?
They're going to the race. Oh, wait a minute. That was last weekend.
They're definitely not doing that. They're not going anywhere near that part of town, apparently. Our guy Crum was complaining about that. He's like, hey, man, I hate working on these events and for IndyCar. And then they go like, hey, you're going to be in Phoenix. And then we're like an hour outside of Phoenix.
Oh.
They're actually in Arlington, though, now. The next race is actually in Arlington. Because I asked him, like, you at Texas Motor Speedway or are you in Arlington?
They're going around Jerry World.
Yes, I understand. I was explaining the story. And then he goes, well, I'm staying in Grand Prairie. I'm like, it doesn't sound like you are staying at Texas. It doesn't sound like you are at Texas Motor Speedway. I'm like, where are you guys racing at? He's like, I have no idea. I just know I'm staying in Grand Prairie, and then they're going to move me to wherever. All I know is as an Eagles fan,
get me out of Dallas.
I am just going to be upset being close to Jerry's World. And so, yes, I did see the pictures. They set up a track around in Arlington around the stadiums, which is kind of cool. What's the track layout for that?
I don't know. Hold on. Is
it like a street race?
Yes. They just released a track map of the one that's going to be in Washington, D.C. later on this year. It's going to go down Pennsylvania Avenue because, of course, it is. Let me see.
All right. Let's take a look at, while Frank's looking that up, let's get to the, I also need Frank to play the clip of Craig Stammen in the post game. Oh, is that the track? That's kind of cool.
I don't.
I mean, that's what I thought the track would be in Arlington because there's not other road. Those are like where all the roads are. That's got to be the closest thing to the
this must more or less
track
be
as
it.
Possible. There's more than just left turns, Augie, for this particular
There's
deal.
a lot more than just left turns here. I'll share it on the screen.
All right, we'll show
quick.
people on YouTube real quick before we talk about Craig Stammen comments about the Walker Buehler outing from yesterday. Yeah, there you go. There's Jerry's World to the left. You got the no longer the ballpark in Arlington, Globe Life Park Field, whatever it's called. I don't know what it's called anymore.
Globe Life thing.
Globe Life deal. Yeah. They still have the old Globe Life up, by the way. They use it for offices, and then the UFL team plays.
You can actually see it right there, just above turn 10.
Correct.
Where it is.
That used to all be just like a giant parking lot when I first got to Texas. Now it's a new stadium. It's pretty cool. They go right through Texas Live. Now you got to say all the lives with a little bit of oomph because it's live with an exclamation point.
What
Texas
about
live?
Well, no, this is Augie. This is IndyCar. This isn't NASCAR. It is different. IndyCar does run mostly road courses, actually.
All right.
What about Texas Replay? Do we have to say anything about Texas Replay?
What is Texas Replay?
Well, it's Texas Live. I would have to assume there's going to be a Texas Replay.
Foul. I'm not even going to give you a courtesy chuckle for that. That's just a straight up foul. I gave my friend a foul today, too. Do you want to know what she named her AirPods? Which I didn't know you name AirPods. You know what she named her AirPods?
More than anything else.
She named them Ground Pod Day. Immediate foul.
He draws the foul.
Foul. She said, "What? What is that a foul for? It's funny." I'm like, it is funny.
It's still a foul.
It's still a foul, though. The dad jokes are always going to be a foul. Texas Replay, foul. Ground Pod Day, foul. Always going to be like that. You can make dad jokes. I can laugh at said dad jokes, but they will all be a foul. Just ask Tim Day. Except he does it in the middle of broadcasts in my ear as I'm trying to call action. That should almost be a tech, but you know what? We're moving on.
Fletch didn't give a tech.
No, he didn't have techs. It should be a tech, but that's also a foul. All right, let's get to what Craig Stammen said yesterday about Walker Buehler's outing to kind of put a bow on this particular subject matter of Walker Buehler getting the start yesterday, him playing his way on the team. Plus, we got an update for you on Joe Musgrove.
Walker really pitched today. What'd you think?
Yeah, that's what we've been trying to get him to do. He's just a different person than he was, what we remember him from the Dodgers. So he's kind of coming into that second evolution of his career, and he's taken pretty well to it. A lot of good change-ups underneath, some good sweepers, two-seamers. He's turned into a pretty good pitcher.
Jace Bowen can do a lot of things more than just hit balls far. Like, what kind of player could he be for you guys?
Yeah, he's very physically gifted. You watch him run, you're like, man, I wish I ran like that. You watch him hit, and you're like, dang, I wish I could hit as far as that. He could be, a guy for us that comes up, at some point during the season, whether that's at the beginning or the middle or the end, provides a little life, a little energy, steals some bags, play great outfield, and then, like we saw today, has the ability to leave the yard too. So trying to work on the finer things of baseball with him, make him into a baseball player, not just a great athlete.
Jose Miranda has played a solid third base today in particular and had a base hit today. He's hit the ball well. What's the key for him, I suppose, continuing to inject himself into that roster conversation?
Yeah, he's had a great spring training thus far. He's been really hitting the ball. It's kind of the player that we saw play against us when he was with the Twins, and he's kind of showed that same swing, made a few adjustments, and he's had a great spring training. He's playing third base, playing a good third base right now, and we've been trying him over at first base and third base. It's moving around a little bit, but like we always say, if you can hit, we'll try to find a spot in the lineup for you.
That is going to be interesting on the bench piece deal. That's the second time that Craig said that. Jose Miranda's hit, Ty Francis hit. They're almost hitting equally right now, Frank, at this point in time when it comes to statistics.
Yeah, they definitely are, and that's been a big thing right now. I mean, again, we talked about it yesterday, how Jose Miranda was the first guy to be signed this offseason. He's been kind of an afterthought, kind of forgotten about. But boy, he's made his name known so far this spring, and so has Ty France as well.
So a lot of that information, kind of the typical post-game stuff, good stuff from Craig Stammen on Walker Buehler. We have an update on Joe Musgrove, but we're going to get to the sports story. Before we get to that, let's talk about what else is going on in sports here on the Braden Surprenant Show.
You know that group chat, the one that's always blowing up with the biggest sports takes, debates, and breaking news?
You got barbecue back there, and you didn't invite me?
Yeah, we've got that too. Welcome to the Sports Thread, where we break down the top 5 stories in sports, just like you would with your crew.
Oh, no! Disaster! What a bad idea!
No filters, no silence, just real talk. Brought to you by QC Kinetics. Stop sitting on the sidelines. QC Kinetics gets you back in the game without surgery. To learn how, visit QCkinetics.com.
All right, Frank, what we got going on in the sports world today?
Well, we've referenced it a couple times already, but let's get into it here.
Number 1.
Bam Adebayo delivered one of the most stunning scoring performances in NBA history last night, erupting for 83 points in a Miami Heat win over the Washington Wizards. The total is now the second highest single-game scoring mark ever, trailing only Wilt Chamberlain's legendary 100 and surpassing Kobe Bryant's 81. Adebayo's historic night included a massive workload, 43 shots, 43 free throw attempts, and 22 three-point attempts, while setting multiple Heat franchise records. The emotional performance came in front of his mother and vaulted the normally defense-first center into one of the most unforgettable single-game performances the NBA has ever seen. Does an 83-point game from Bam Adebayo say more about how incredible the performance was, or about how today's NBA rules and style make historic scoring explosions more possible?
What do you have, like 39 in the first quarter, right? You had like 39 in the first quarter.
Something like that, yeah.
That was enjoyable. It was a legit 39. And then after that, it was like the final. I think JJ Redick said it best in his post game, because they asked him about it, and he said he watched like the last 3 minutes. That's a different style of basketball.
Mm-hmm.
I think like trying to artificially create what was a scoring spree for Ben Adebayo to give him a record is kind of ridiculous. When you start taking away from the integrity of the game to make the record happen, I lose interest in it.
Mm-hmm.
Like if Ben Adebayo is in a battle, or even if they're like destroying who they play, the Wizards last night or whatever. If they're destroying the Wizards, they left him in to let him just go out and score, and he earned it. Great. What a great story. But they're intentionally fouling up however many points they're up to preserve the clock, to get Ben Adebayo more opportunities. Guy had 43 free throws last night too. I'm out, dude. Another fat L for the NBA. Who watches this league? Seriously.
It's just another one in a year of L's for the NBA.
Number 2.
Fat L.
A legal and financial dispute nearly kept the Utah Valley Wolverines men's basketball team and the Utah Valley Wolverines women's basketball team out of the Western Athletic Conference tournaments, but a last-minute assurance resolved the issue. Utah Valley University, which is leaving the WAC for the Big West Conference after this school year, has been ordered by a court to place $1 million in escrow to cover its conference exit fee. When the payment was initially delayed, the WAC warned the school that it might not be considered, quote, in good standing, which would have removed the top-seeded men's team from the bracket. However, after confirmation, the payment process was underway. The conference allowed Utah Valley to compete in both tournaments in Las Vegas. Should conferences be able to block a team from postseason play over exit fee disputes, or should what happens on the court always come first?
It should be on the court. The fact that they're going to potentially eliminate their opportunity to go to the NCAA tournament right now is so pathetic. It's so pathetic. It's so petty. It's ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
It's so petty. It's ridiculous. It's like, what are we doing? Like, why would anybody want to join the WAC at this point in time? Look, I understand. Like Utah Valley, you got to pay the exit fee if you're going to leave the conference. I totally understand that. But at this point in time, holding the number 1 seed hostage and holding the players of the team hostage, which, by the way, they're not the ones that have to write the $1 million check. Let's prevent the kids that have actually won the games, right? Mm-hmm. Let's pretend like we care about student athletes again, right? Let's just try to pretend. We're going to prevent those guys from going to the NCAA tournament, which is very hard to do in general, because of $1 million from the school that they haven't paid yet. Give me a break. Talk about fat L's. This is terrible for the WAC. Are you kidding me? This is why, like, I try to explain to people all the time, sports are for entertainment purposes and money. Like, that's what sports are for. It's not for the integrity of the sport. College, professional leagues, it's not the pureness of the sport. It's about entertainment. And the WAC cares more about the money than they do about, like, putting on a legit league. This is not a penalty you should enforce on this. You want to rack up the price and then sue them in court? Sure. But start to prevent their college programs from going into the tournament, whether they're number 1 seed. By the way, Utah Valley probably has the best chance of advancing in the NCAA tournament, which in return would actually make the WAC more money, because they'd probably get to keep it over Utah Valley. You got to put the money in escrow. Give me a break. Give me a break. So stupid.
Yep.
Number 3.
The Cincinnati Reds will be without their projected ace for much of the first half of the season, as Hunter Green is scheduled to undergo arthroscopic surgery to remove bone chips and loose bodies from his right elbow. The 26-year-old right-hander is expected to miss 14 to 16 weeks, putting a possible return around July. If Hunter Green does not return until midseason, can the Reds' young rotation keep them in the playoff race, or are they falling behind the 8 ball already?
I don't know. They're in trouble with not having Hunter Green, but he's injury prone. He's been injury prone. When we come back in the noon lunchtime hour, presented by Kraft Taco, we'll get you that Joe Musgrove news and how it affects the starting rotation. Then we'll take a deeper dive into the Padres roster predictions, talk a little bit about the MLB team tiers. All coming up next. Braden Surprenant Show, San Diego Sports Station, 97.3 The Fan.
San Diego, it's time to fire it up. From the beaches to the ballparks, from the Gaslamp to North County, No one knows America's finest city like he does.
You can't just punt on a Manny Machado prime year.
He's a fourth-generation San Diegan, born and raised in the heart of this community. Passionate, opinionated, and always bringing you the real talk on your teams, your city, and everything in between.
Braden totally knows his stuff. He's ready for the next step. That guy is good.
Live and local, it's the Braden Surprenant Show.
But I think Braden's one of the up-and-coming young stars in the media game in San Diego.
Now, here's your host, Braden Surprenant.
New Lunchtime Hour on 97 Through the Fan is brought to you by the Craft Taco. Bold flavors, 2 locations, Sorrento Valley and inside Balboa Park's Natural History Museum. Love seeing them sponsor our Noon Lunchtime Hour. We haven't gotten to dive into too much food in recent times. I will say this. There is something that has been introduced at a place that needs to be addressed.
By the way, just for Go Aztecs real quick.
I'm waiting for the tacos. Where are the damn tacos at?
There it is. It's a Taco Wednesday. Okay. Rod's having a good day. Rod is my, I don't want to give favorites for chat members, but Rod is a favorite food chat member because the guy is constantly hitting up San Diego staples. Now, whether or not he's actually doing it remains to be seen. But I will say this, Frank. A lot of the time when Rod's out there hitting up restaurants, he kind of sends us a picture that he's there.
Yeah, he is. He does. He brings receipts. That guy's going to Mona Lisa's. He's going to Phil's Barbecue. He's going to, today he's like, oh, today's a Hodad's day. When is Rod going to hit up the Craft Taco and send us another picture? Get back to the Craft Taco. Rod, go to Craft Taco. Tell Eddie I sent you. Post it up. Tell Eddie I sent you. He'll say who.
Yeah,
we'll both stand there really awkwardly, and then I'll leave.
Get a fish taco on Fridays. Wow, Rod went ham on the barbecue today. No pun intended, foul.
He draws the foul.
I tell you what. Yeah, Rod's gonna hit up Craft Taco. Money, brother. I tell you what, I got to get this off my. I wanted to. I got 2 hours to try to not talk about it, but I can't not talk about it anymore. I have to say something. I have to say something. I have to say something about the barbecue.
Oh.
And Rod has reminded me about the barbecue, and I'm going to table it for now because we got to get to this Joe Musgrove stuff before I digress again. I have to thank you, Rod, for going to Phil's today to address the barbecue situation that I saw last night. That is such a foul. It's not even funny. I can't believe it. It is a slap in the face to everybody that makes barbecue. I'm upset with one of our colleagues. I'm very upset. I'm offended. It has brought me so much pain to see that. And we'll talk about it in the next segment. I can't believe I feel betrayed, Frank. I really do. I feel betrayed.
Would you like me to give you a food update?
No.
My parent. Okay.
Sure.
My parents. I told you, my mother bought the chicken ice cream.
Oh yeah, the fried chicken ice cream, which doesn't taste like fried chicken.
No,
it's vanilla or chocolate ice cream, and it's in the shape of a chicken leg with like cornflakes that make it look like a chicken leg.
I was 100% in on trying it. I can't.
They got peanuts in there?
Well, they got nuts in it. My dad said it tastes exactly like an Almond Joy.
Oh,
so
no.
I can't have it.
Well, an Almond Joy is mostly coconut. Are you allergic to the coconut?
I'm allergic to almonds.
Oh, well. Although when I have an Almond Joy, I don't really taste almonds. I taste more coconuts than anything else.
I thought it did go Aztecs. I'm sorry.
It does. It does have an almond. That's unfortunate.
Yeah. So I unfortunately cannot partake in the fried chicken ice cream.
Yesterday, I looked at Twitter throughout this a couple times during the show. I got a notification on my phone, and the notification was from on Twitter was from Arby's, like the restaurant account.
Yeah,
and I was like, why is Arby's in my mention? And why
is Arby's hitting us up for a sponsorship?
And why is it just meats in all caps? I was so confused. And then I looked, and our boy Trav went to Arby's, took a terrible photo, by the way. A terrible photo of a beef and shed. I mean, brother, I'm surprised Arby's responded to your bad picture of beef and sheds.
It's probably why they responded.
Yeah. And he goes, mind so good. He tags Arby's and me in it. And Arby's just responds in all caps, meats.
Oh, God.
That's it. So I was really confused on why Arby's popped up in a comment that I was in that said meats. I really wanted to DM the Arby's account and be like, collab?
Collab?
Question mark?
I will knock down as many Monty sticks as you want me to? Question mark?
What's that, the potato thing they have? They have like the potato cakes? Oh, potato cakes. That's what they got.
Oh, you know what's coming back soon, too, is the creamsicle milkshake. Too.
Play it, Frank.
Play what? Oh.
Are you raising your voice at me?
That was Arby's yesterday. That was me talking to Arby's yesterday in my mentions. All right. Let's talk about this Joe Musgrove stuff for a second, because I think it opens the door for both Walker Buehler and Germán Márquez to make the team. So here's the notes from yesterday's report. We're going to hear from Craig Stammen here in a second. First outing was March 4th. He threw 60 pitches, part of his recovery timeline. First live action since Tommy John surgery, October 2024. Since then, only one bullpen session and no scheduled next start. Why are the Padres slowing down Joe Musgrove? Well, Musgrove described his arm as tired. I think that's very common for somebody that's coming back from, Tommy John surgery, which is a normal reaction after high-intensity outing, his first high-intensity outing that he has had. Factors involved: adrenaline of game environment, first time facing hitters again, breaking balls at full intensity. I mean, that's going to put a little bit of a tear and your wear and tear on your arm, and your arm's got to recover, obviously. So the goal for the Padres right now, taking the long view, it's to keep Musgrove healthy for the entire season, not just opening day. Team expected this possibility months ago. Opening day timeline is getting tight for Joe Musgrove because it's just 2 weeks away, and he may miss a start early in the season, but no indication he will miss significant time. I think that is very important from the Padres, putting that out there. Recovery from Tommy John is very unpredictable. Possible outcomes for a lot of pitchers returning from Tommy John surgery are return to full form quickly, pitch effectively but with limits, need additional recovery time, never fully regain previous level. Padres believe Musgrove's competitiveness and durability work in his favor, but there's got to be a little bit of recovery time even after the pitching, because yes, you got to get your arm up to throw again at a major league level, but then that first time you throw, Frank, that's like the first time you lift in a long time, and your body is just so sore after the fact. I believe this, obviously from the Padres sense. I like the way that they're treating this thing, and I think the ability, Germán Márquez and Walker Buehler being in a position that gives that, pitching at a level that they're pitching right now in spring training, gives the Padres the position of, we can slow Joe Musgrove into this.
Yeah, exactly. And I think one of those, and I read it to you yesterday, and that kind of perked your ears up, is he said in that piece, he's like, yeah, I feel like I've had surgery. So it just sounds like, again, it's arm fatigue, kind of the same thing that Nick Pivetta is going through, probably with just a little bit more intensity because he just had a surgery. So yeah, they are treating him with kid gloves. They have him wrapped in bubble wrap right now, and they're not really wanting to play with the toy until it's most important.
Yeah, which is fine by me. Do we got what do we have to play? I mean, did Craig Stammen say anything different than what we already talked with Sam about?
I don't know. I haven't heard it.
Oh, nice.
It's only a minute long.
Nice, man. Let's hear from Craig Stammen.
What's the plan for Joe, throwing wise? Musgrove.
Yeah, I think he's day-to-day right now. Kind of, we knew this was how it's going to be with him coming back from injury. It wasn't just going to be a straight shot, all the way through. And so giving him the ample amount of rest to get him kind of a little bit of a deep breath, a breather, and then we'll get him back out there.
Any idea when that'll be, just based on how he feels?
We'll see. We'll evaluate him every single day and then make a decision after that.
With Joe, I mean, is it like general soreness? Is it kind of work, just typical stuff, working your way back from this kind of thing?
Yeah, it's typical stuff. Like sometimes you just come out of a game or come out of a bullpen and it's just a little cranky. And you're like, I need, a couple extra days and just a little bit of a breather, recalibrate, start all over again and get back to it. But I don't think it won't be too long. Like it's just, something I think it's in the best interest for him and in the best interest for our team so that we can get him pitching when it matters most. And that's when we see playoff Joe. So we got to get it. We're thinking about getting him through the entire season, not just getting him to opening day.
I like playoff Joe. You like playoff Joe?
I love playoff Joe.
I love playoff Joe. I love playoff Joe more than opening day Joe. No offense to opening day Joe, but I will take playoff Joe. I want to see Joe Musgrove represent his city in the playoffs. That's what I want to see. I think this is fine. I don't think you need to lay into I don't think you need to make this a big deal. I don't think you need to weigh into this too far. I think the fact that Walker Buehler and Herman Marquez are putting together good springs gives you the ability to shut Joe down a little bit and really ease. You don't need him at this point in time. Let him get to the level that he was at or close to, as close as he possibly can coming off of Tommy John surgery at his age, and be able to debut him as close to 100% as possible. That's how I see it. We're going to talk about the rest of the roster here in a second. We also want to dive into a little MLB talk. You know what? We haven't played the song in a long time. So we're going to talk about that. We also are going to discuss why I'm so mad at one of our colleagues. We'll do that when we come back on the Braden Surprenant Show, Standing Summer Sports Station 97 through the Fan.
It's time for the motorsports update for the week, and I'm flying solo as I sit here at the press box at Phoenix Raceway in Avondale, Arizona. A great weekend of racing overall, not just with NASCAR, but also with IndyCar and overseas with Formula One as well, kicking off their season in Melbourne, Australia. Let's start with NASCAR here, as we are again in Phoenix. A great race, a race that had a lot of twists and turns over the course of the day. The two drivers that were clearly the class of the field were Christopher Bell in the number 20 for Joe Gibbs Racing and Ryan Blaney, who ended up winning the race here this week. Those two by far and away had the best cars here today. Christopher Bell stayed out of trouble, had most of the day to himself out in front, just on pure raw pace and speed. Ryan Blaney, though, had to overcome a lot of obstacles, had a couple of loose wheels, not once, but twice had a loose wheel. Left front the first time, a left rear the second time, had to come from the back of the field twice, ended up passing 49 cars, which is by far and away more than any other driver was able to pass over the course of the race. Couple of late restarts, two-tire decision, again, really helped Ryan Blaney get that race win, get himself into a position. Had to pass Ty Gibbs at the end of the race, who was fighting for his first ever win in the NASCAR Cup Series. Unfortunately for Ty, came up just a little bit short. He's going to end up getting fourth place today. Christopher Bell, who took four tires on the last pit stop with about 20-25 to go, made the same mistake, you could say, that Denny Hamlin made come the end of the season last year here at Phoenix, that ended up losing him a championship. Christopher Bell just did not have enough time, cleared Kyle Larson and Ty Gibbs with about 7 laps to go, give or take, and just could not make up what was about a 1-second gap to Ryan Blaney in order to get the race win. Tyler Reddick, who was going for 4 for 4 this year to start off, unfortunately did not have that go well for him. He never really had it today. He had a good car in the first stage, finished, I believe it was third, if I remember correctly, in the first stage, but just did not have it the rest of the day. He ended up finishing 8th. His 23-11 teammate Bubba Wallace comes home in 6th, just to round out the top 5 or 6 for the Cup Series. Ryan Blaney collects his first win of the year, back-to-back here at Phoenix as well. Remember, he won the last race of the season here at Phoenix as well. Christopher Bell, Kyle Larson, Ty Gibbs, Denny Hamlin rounding out the top 5. Bubba Wallace, William Byron, Tyler Reddick, Michael McDowell, and Eric Jones, who qualified in 32nd for the race here today, coming home in the top 10. Yesterday's races here were also very, very good. Jesse Love dominated the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series race here last night. Unfortunately, he did not come away with the win. Justin Allgaier in the number 7 for Junior Motorsports, really, really good on the long run. And no matter what Jesse Love tried to do at the end, Justin Allgaier was going to be the car to beat, and he was the winner last night. So Junior Motorsports comes away with their first win of the season. IndyCar yesterday afternoon was a fantastic race. David Malukas started on pole in the number 12 for Penske, led the first 73 laps. Unfortunately, wasn't able to lead the rest of the way. After the first round of pit cycles, went through. Joseph Newgarden, who qualified in 2nd, was right up there all day, was right up there battling with Pato O'Ward, who was able to grab the lead of the race as his pit cycle was so far off. But the biggest story that came out of yesterday, well, the biggest story was the fact that Alex Palou, who has been leading the IndyCar Championship ever since, I believe it was August of 2024, crashing out in the first 10 laps of this race. Did have a little bit of contact with the number 76, put Alex Palou in the wall that's actually just behind me here, just behind the camera shot, and ended his day early. So Alex Palou, for the first time in a calendar year and a half, will not be the points leader in the IndyCar Series. Great racing towards the end between Joseph Newgarden and Christian Rasmussen. Rasmussen found a lane that nobody else here was able to find yesterday, and was able to really run that middle lane where no one else was able to. Got into it, I believe it was with Will Power towards the end of the race, cut Will Power's tire down, and then from there, Rasmussen was kind of fighting back. Mick Schumacher had a solid
12:18 on a Wednesday afternoon. We got a lot to get to still on the Braden Surprenant Show. Thanks again for joining us today. He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant. Welcome in live from the Bill House Studios. We know how. We're going to talk about San Diego FC in the 1 o'clock hour. Big game tonight against Toluca as part of the CONCACAF Champions Cup. So we're going to dive into a little bit of soccer in the 1 o'clock hour. We haven't even talked about the Maxx Crosby Baltimore Ravens debacle. We'll talk about that in the 1 o'clock hour. You all right over there?
Yeah. Scratch my head.
Look like you're in deep thought.
No. Just not a thought up in here.
It's almost more concerning than anything else. Arsenal's doing stupid things again, Frank. That's what Juan said.
Yeah, well, stupid club.
Is Juan the Arsenal fan? What's the...
Yes, Juan is the Arsenal fan.
Oh, well, that sucks. Juan, surely STFC and Arsenal won't stink it up on the same day. Well, you might have the complete opposite of Frank's day then, because Frank yesterday was 4-0. Hopefully, Juan, you don't go 0-4 today. Who are you rooting for in the WBC tonight?
Gee, I wonder who. You know?
I didn't say that. Frank did. Let's get to the biggest talking point on hand, okay? I do want to, this is the new lunchtime hour. We do talk about food a handful of times. There's two things I need to address. Okay? I'm going to get the negative one out of the way. Because I'm disappointed in this man. I really am. I am disappointed in somebody I would call a friend. somebody that is a colleague of ours, somebody that joins us twice a week.
Do we call him now and put him on blast, or do we let that sit for?
No. It's an off day. He can sit on this. Now, our guy Sammy Lev yesterday at 8:28. You know what? You're going to have to pull up the picture that he posted. I got a lot of problems with this. He tweets out, and this, I want to thank Rod for bringing this back to my attention because it reminded me when he went to barbecue today that Sam Levitt gets an ultimate foul for what was the most depressing, sad, Lincoln Riley looking barbecue tray I have ever seen. I don't even know if you could even consider this barbecue at this point in time. Sam, what are we doing, dude? Like, what is this? Pull it up. What is this sad state of affairs on a tray right here? He puts out on a tweet, influenced by Ben Woods. And then he's got the picture. He's got 36 comments on it.
He also has a reply that says, "It was good. I didn't want a lot of food. Can everyone relax, please?"
No, don't post this nonsense. If you're going to go to barbecue, you're hungry, my guy. You don't go to barbecue if you don't want a lot of food. Come on, man. So for the people driving around, this is the lame ass plate tray that Sam Levitt put on social media. He's got a side of mac and cheese. It's got some green chilies in it. Okay, you know what? We're off to a good start. That's a solid side. Then it's the coleslaw. Thumbs down immediately. Coleslaw, you're going to waste a side on mayo, lettuce, and cabbage? Come on, man. Terrible. Absolutely terrible. So the sides are 50-50 right now. He's 1 for 2 on the sides. Okay? Mac and cheese, hits, money. Hard to disclose that, okay? Hard to argue against it. Coleslaw, big notch down. Awful take. Yeah, looks like a plate I'd make for his 3-year-old. Yeah, absolutely. It's exactly what it looks like. Then you get to, I don't even want to get to the main dish yet because this is just absolutely infuriating. He's got like 2 burnt ends over there. A side of burnt ends. It's like we'll give him the benefit. To be fair, we'll give him the benefit. To be fair. It might be more than 2. Maybe it's 3 of the burnt ends. Okay, maybe you got an extra one. I don't know. It's not, whatever. It's true. Anyway, so it's a sad state of burnt ends over there as well. Okay, that's on the other side of the plate. And again, for anybody listening right now, it is a silver tray, like a cooking tray, with a sheet of butcher paper down, and then he's got the 2 cardboard side, or the 2 little like trays with the sides on the left-hand side of this, with mac and cheese in front, coleslaw up top. Again, 50-50 on that. And then on the right side, he's got a little tray with some burnt ends in it, like 2 or 3. Above that, he's got about 7 pickles in a pile above, which I don't mind the pickles add. I think it's a good add to the barbecue tray.
And by the way,
what are we doing?
I would also like to point out that for everyone who can't see this picture or hasn't seen it yet,
it's sad.
None of it's touching either.
Of course.
Like he went full OCD with this. I respect it, but at a barbecue place, you're not really going there to not be like clean and healthy.
Again, Sam's first comment on his thing, because he was getting crushed. It was good. I didn't want a lot of food. Can everyone relax? No, we can't relax, Sam, because if you don't want a lot of food, you don't go to barbecue. That's a lot of money for not a lot of food. Rod posted in the chat how much he spent today at a barbecue, at Phil's barbecue. Barbecue's expensive. You go there with a big appetite. So he's got the little pickles in the top right corner. On the right-hand side, he's got the 4 burnt ends in a little cardboard. You know those little cardboard I really kind of like a tray that you would see it like, you get it like from food trucks and stuff. Yeah, okay. So he's got that. And then below the sauce, man. The sauce is a foul in itself. Are you kidding me with this? What are is that ketchup, mustard, and what is that? Hot sauce? What is that? Is that a dab of barbecue sauce?
It's like half a dollop, I think.
That looks like something they would put on in an art museum. You're like, hey, look at this. This is art. It's not art. What is this? This is like something you'd see at like a fancy restaurant. Oh, enjoy our caviar paste. What is this? 3 little dabbles of some type of sauce that looks like ketchup, mustard, and barbecue sauce in the bottom right corner of the butcher paper on the tray.
Again, not touching.
None of it's touching each other. No.
All in a perfect line, too. Like, it's the ketchup, and then right next to it is the mustard, and then right next to it is the barbecue.
What? Are you kidding me? Bro, who taught this New Yorker how to eat barbecue? He's doing you a disservice, Frank. I'm gonna tell you that right now. I mean, you're getting lumped in. You want to pull the New Yorker thing? You're getting dragged down with this. Not associate yourself with Sam when it comes to food. Look at this. Okay, so we went through the. He's 50-50 on the sides. The coleslaw, big thumbs down. The mac and cheese, his best move of the night, ordering the mac and cheese with the green chilies. The pickles, I like pickles. Not enough, though. It's still sad. Only 2 burn ends. That's sad. Sauce in the bottom right corner. Sad. All not touching. And then the saddest thing. The saddest thing to this entire tray. Aside from the fact that it looks like a kid's meal. The saddest thing is right in the damn middle of the entire tray. It is 2 sorry-ass cuts of turkey.
Perfectly sliced, though.
Also,
like they're not shredded or nothing. They're just
also not touching. Also not touching. He's got the turkey's touching each other.
Yeah, the turkey's on top of each other.
2 slices of turkey. By the way, if you go to a barbecue place and you order turkey, they're just telling you get out. That's something on the side. That's like an extra thing you throw in. You don't go to a barbecue place and get a one meat combo and it's just turkey. What are we doing?
You know me. I don't eat much of anything.
We know that.
When I went to your house at the start of the football season to watch TCU put a beat down on North
Bill
Carolina.
Belichick. Yeah, that was great.
My plate was more respectable than this.
Oh, we had the ribs, we had the brisket, we had the burnt ends, we had the side.
My plate was more respectable than this.
For sure. You know why, Frank? Because you got style. You have culture.
You're the first person to ever tell me that one.
You know what? For food, you got style, my guy. You like the good food. This is sad. Don't order turkey, just turkey. I'm sure it was good. I'm sure it tasted good. But to get the slap of the turkey on there in the middle and the mac, he has more mac and cheese than anything on that entire plate. I can't believe
the
it.
The coleslaw, a very close second, too, by the way.
Oh, God. Oh, God. I can't believe people actually physically pay money for coleslaw. They actually spend hard-earned dollars on coleslaw. This should flag his profile for future possible swipes. Okay.
You call one coworker fat, and then all of a sudden,
the guy's limiting his sauce intake. I want to know what he used those sauces for. Did he just do a little dabble of the? I mean, the only thing you could dip in that sauce right now is a couple slices of the turkey. Coleslaw's not great, dude. Let's be honest here. It's not great. But anyway, that's the
coleslaw is L tier side.
Out of all barbecue sides, it might be the worst. Mac and cheese, supreme. You know, any type of potato deal, potato salad. Okay, there's multiple ways you can do potato salad. Way better. I'd take baked beans over there. A ranch style beans over that. I'd take fries. I think barbecue places make the worst fries on the planet. I'd take fries over coleslaw.
They do.
They make the soggy, sorry-ass fries that barbecue places make.
As a fry connoisseur, I would agree with that, yes.
I have not gone to a barbecue place and I'm like, oh, well, you know what? These fries are good. But coleslaw, trash can. It's a waste of a side, Sam. I hope he learns from this. You know what? This is a learning experience, I think, for all of us.
And
onto how to properly order barbecue.
And we will have this discussion again tomorrow, I am sure.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, send him this entire video clip. Let him study a little bit. I mean, what are we doing? I have not seen anything sadder than Lincoln Riley's attempt at making a brisket than Sam's barbecue plate from wherever he went yesterday in Arizona.
We've got another one. We got another live one here. Jake Waters in the chat. I will be in Chicago tonight. Hot dog or pizza for dinner? First of all, Chicago does not have pizza. It has a casserole.
Yeah, those are not. That's not. Pizza.
That is not pizza. Deep dish pizza is not pizza. Go with the hot dog. Period. Stop.
Okay, that was one of the things I wanted to complain about in terms of food. The other one, did you see this from Buffalo Wild Wings?
No, I have not seen anything that Buffalo Wild Wings has done recently.
Aside from the fact that the guy tried to sue for the boneless
Yes.
wing fake advertising. All right. I'm going to need you to go to Buffalo Wild Wings on Twitter.
All right.
And on there, you will quickly find what I am wanting you to display on the YouTube.
Oh, no.
But.
Oh, yes, I did see this,
so Buffalo
dude.
Wild Wings has introduced a espresso.
Oh, wait. Oh, that wasn't it.
Espresso Protini. Gesundheit.
Brother.
Espresso Protini. Do you know what that is? That is a espresso martini with protein. Infused with buffalo dry rub and jam-packed with 10 grams of protein. This is Buffalo Wild Wings' official post. You're welcome for the macros. Launching in select locations nationwide starting on Friday, March 13th. What a way to celebrate Friday the 13th. And Sunday, March 15th. Select participating sports bar locations, including Hendersonville, Tennessee, Shorewood, Illinois, Alpharetta, Georgia, Lemon, Texas, and Orlando, Florida. The Espresso Protini drink. That is disgusting, dude. Look, people, I get it. People want to hit their macros. People want to get more protein. But the reality is, when people want to consume more protein, which I'm a big fan of, more protein's better. They don't want all their bad food to be loaded with protein. That's not like these corporate companies don't get it. If somebody's ordered an espresso martini, they don't really want to have protein in the espresso martini. They just want the espresso martini. Espresso martini is very popular right now amongst the Gen Z millennials. People like espresso martinis. You saw, what's her name, who won some in the Olympics, the snowboarder, whatever, skier, was drinking her first ever espresso martini. Now everybody wants an espresso martini. Who came up with this? Let's make an espresso martini and put buffalo wing seasoning on it, and then throw a bunch of fake protein in there.
How zooted were you when you decided this? What in the eye-watering, mouth-blistering, choking hazard are you doing?
I'd love to know.
Who is
Why
this
didn't they call
for?
it the espresso brotini? That's what they should have named it.
Did someone get paid to come up with this? Because if so, I have some ideas.
Are you reading comments right now?
Yes.
Are you raising your voice at me?
Are you raising your voice at me?
What are we Unbelievable. It's killing me. Killing me.
I dare you to add it to the menu. April Fool's is next month.
All right, we got to take a break. When we come back, we'll dive back into some Padres baseball. We're going to talk a little bit more Major League Baseball with the team tier breakdown and just kind of lay out what some of these teams are going to be doing. We've missed the MLB music, so when we come back, we're going to get to that. Plus, we need a contestant for the Midday Sports Standoff. 833-288-973, 833-288-973. Braden Surprenant Show, Setting Us Sports Station 97 through the Fan. We got a lot to get to here on the update for San Diego High School athletics. And the biggest takeaway this week in San Diego High School sports, the section keeps producing great teams, but the CIF state playoffs are a completely different animal. Multiple San Diego teams made deep runs, but a lot of seasons ended just 1 or 2 wins short of a state final. Competition in Southern California is brutal, and we saw that play out across basketball and soccer this week.
Yeah, exactly. Let's start with the deepest run. Francis Parker School girls basketball had the best season in program history, winning a San Diego Section Open Division title and reaching the SoCal Regional semifinal, but it ended in heartbreak. They led by 12 points in the second half before falling 85-79 to Rancho Christian School. The story of the game was freshman phenom Addison Archer, who exploded for 44 points. And no, that is not a typo. I did not misspeak. 44 points in a state semifinal as a freshman. That is insane.
Parker had 4 players in double figures, including 29 points and 12 rebounds from Brianna Brown, but Archer just kept attacking the rim and living at the free throw line. Despite the loss, Francis Parker won the Open Division, won 2 state playoff games, and had the deepest run in school history. And that's a season to build on and something to be proud about over there in Linda Vista. But Vista had a little bit of a surprise run. Another impressive run came from Vista High School. Panthers reached the Division V SoCal Regional semifinal, but their run ended in a 43-35 loss to Shure High School. They finished the season 20-14, which doesn't jump off the page until you remember this was a first-year coach in Deanna Hale and a team that barely got into the playoffs.
Yeah, they beat 2 teams in the state tournament before finally running into a defensive wall. Senior Isabella Mosley led the team with 17 points, but Shure's 1-3-1 zone shut down Vista's offense most of the game. Still, for a first-year head coach, that is a pretty darn good season to set a foundation for.
Absolutely. Now, other teams in San Diego struggling in basketball. Overall, the state playoffs, rough for the section. San Diego teams struggled against the bigger programs in Los Angeles and the Central Valley. Torrey Pines High School boys basketball lost to Palisades Charter High School. Carlsbad fell to Bakersfield Christian. Poway saw its 7-game win streak snapped by Birmingham Community Charter High School, and that's the reality of the state tournament. You're playing major metro powers every round. A lot of those teams did really well in the CIF playoffs down here in San Diego. State playoffs, just kind of a different animal.
Yeah, absolutely. And the same thing you could say with soccer as well, as Coastal Academy made some big history. The biggest local story outside of basketball belonging to Coastal Academy High School girls soccer, the Stingrays advanced to its first ever CIF state soccer championship with a 2-0 win over Kennedy High School. Now they've won 6 straight matches and have 15 shutouts this season. They will face Lowell High School for the state title, a huge moment for a smaller North County program.
Yeah, it's been pretty impressive on the soccer side, but we had more soccer close calls. San Diego also had a few teams just fall short of the state finals. Del Norte lost 1-0 to Modern Day. San Pasqual lost 2-1 to Miramonte. Both teams had strong seasons, but ran into elite opponents. Let's move to some spring news in volleyball. They're already ramping up. Boys volleyball had a big showcase at the Best of the West tournament. This event featured 12 of the top 25 teams in the country, and San Diego actually held its own. Team finished in the gold division, included the Bishop School, Torrey Pines, La Costa Canyon, Carlsbad, and Poway. And one interesting storyline, Torrey Pines star Griffin Dieter, one of the top liberos in the country, switched to outside hitter this season at 6'4", not your typical libero anyway, and it shows how deep some of these San Diego volleyball programs are.
Yeah, absolutely. And then going back to your world of football, one more note from the football world. Former La Jolla County Day school star quarterback Braxton Burmeister is returning to San Diego high school football. He is joining the staff at Mission Hills High School as offensive coordinator. Burmeister still holds San Diego section records for career passing yards at 11,512 and career touchdown passes at 127. And he will be working with a future 4-star quarterback in Ferreira, I believe. And that could really be an interesting program to watch this year.
Even in the offseason, you still find news for high school football here on our update. So a lot of stuff to report on the high school stretch as the winter season is coming to a close and spring season is in full force. $12:41 on a Wednesday. I've started the coleslaw war. People are defending their coleslaw takes. Coleslaw is for non-ball knowers, Frank. Non-ball knowers.
Well,
it's not great.
Everyone's wrong about something.
That's right. Okra, money. Augie is a ball knower. We have already established that with his college football knowledge. Definitely a ball knower. And you got to have the fried okra that's actually done properly. Our guy Smash, who lives in the Midwest, or is from the Midwest, the Michigan guy, they're not going to know how to fry okra up there. Not as well as the people in the South. Not as well as the people in the South. Augie, big, you know what? Round of applause for Augie in the chat. You know what? He's the first one. First one today, and the only one that sends the emoticons of a drum and a duck. Guy knows ball. Guy knows ball. Give me the meats. I agree, Aaron. That's right. No sides. That's fine too. I'm a big sides guy. Coleslaw, not going to be waste. I'm not going to be wasting on the coleslaw. Definitely not. All right, let's finally get into this, Frank. We've teased it for like 5 days.
Yeah.
Cue the music. Got him.
It's almost March, is it not?
Not the music, but got to get excited for March. Let's try it again. Ready? Aha, there it is. All right, let's get into it. We'll start with the teams at the bottom. There are... All right, easy. The music.
Relax. I pulled the wrong thing down. Relax. Calm down.
Easy about the music there. All right. Tier breakdowns for MLB going into the season. They have broken up this MLB group into 9 tiers. Let's start with the bottom. Tier number 9, the Angels and the Twins. Angels, 10 straight losing seasons, still no direction. Twins, regression, 3 straight seasons. Rotation, injuries already piling up. They got some talent, but not enough talent. There's no roadmap moving forward. This is the no clear plan group. I can't argue against that.
I'm surprised there's not more in here.
The no clear plan. You know what the next tier, these teams have a plan. It's we're going to try to rebuild.
Okay.
What is the Angels' plan? What's the Angels' plan right now?
Start a new television network, apparently. Well, they are.
What is their plan with their team? Build around Mike Trout, ruin Mike Trout, add play. Like what are they doing?
Yes.
Minnesota Twins, what are they doing?
Destroy Byron Buxton.
Get guys like Ken Rosenthal talking about how they're ready to compete in 2020. Oh, they're still trying to compete in 2026 if they sold half their team last year. Pablo Lopez out for the year. Byron Buxton hasn't been able to make it through a season. Those are two organizations that have zero plan here in 2026. That's tier 9, according to ESPN.com. Let's take a look at tier 8. This is the rebuild mode group. Cardinals, Rockies, Nationals, and White Sox. Teams are not trying to win now.
Wait a second.
They're trying to build the next era.
Timeout. The Cardinals and White Sox. Yes, they are rebuilding. Can we really define what the Rockies and Nationals are doing right now? Can we really define that as rebuilding? The Rockies have been rebuilding for their entire franchise history at this point. And the Nationals have been doing closely the same.
I would consider them more in the at least they're rebuilding though. They're not like, it's not like they have a star or two stars that they're trying to like kind of throw random talent against the wall. They're all young. They're trying to find something to stick. They are a rebuilding team. They're in rebuild mode for sure.
Okay. Like I said, the Cardinals and White Sox, I get. The Rockies and Nationals just seem to be in this perpetual we're gonna bottom feed mode.
I think that they don't have they don't have stars that they're throwing players at. I think they're in the rebuild mode. You could be in the rebuild mode and and make it look like they don't have a plan, but they don't have any players on their team. They're just a bunch of young guys and seeing what sticks. That's rebuild mode.
I would classify that as existing, but
rebuild mode. Next tier. Fun rebuilding teams. A's and the Marlins.
The fact that we're classifying the Los Oaklamento A's as fun is a change for sure.
A's, Marlins, both coming off 100 lost seasons, young talent emerging, could be a year away from contention. I would consider them fun rebuilding teams. I think the A's are going to be a lot better this year.
No, I'm not saying I wasn't saying
the Marlins
anything.
are too.
I wasn't saying anything bad. I was just saying that's
you come up with names for 9 different tiers of baseball teams.
Them being fun. That's a change. That is a positive change. I wasn't saying anything. The A's they genuinely are actually a fun team.
You were complaining about the we're really going fun.
Rebuilding
teams?
No, not at all. I was saying the fact that we are considering the A's fun now just shows how much they've changed.
Let's get to tier 6.
They genuinely are fun.
Tier 6, superstar hope. The Royals and the Pirates. Pirates are led by Paul Skeens. Need a superstar hitter to match. Royals are built around Bobby Witt Jr.
Who is a shortstop, by the way.
He is a shortstop. Need ace version of Cole Reagans. They also probably need an ace. The Pirates and the Royals should combine forces, and they'd be a good playoff team. I believe the superstar hope. It's the hope is basically all they're selling for Pittsburgh and Kansas City. Both teams also tried to make moves during the offseason. Tried to make big splashes. Came up empty. But that's tier 6. Go ahead, help us through.
Pittsburgh got
Ryan O'Hearn.
Nice. They got Osuna from the Pirates.
Osuna from the Pirates is not going to move the needle. All right. Tier 5. Interesting one for the Padres here. They call it the 500 zone, which includes the Padres on ESPN.com. Take us through it.
The Houston Astros, the Arizona Diamondbacks, the San Francisco Giants, the San Diego Padres, Texas Rangers, Tampa Bay Rays, and Cincinnati Reds. Padres' narrative being that they have regressed towards mediocrity, losing Robert Suarez, Dylan Cease, Luis Arias, and Ryan O'Hearn, with the additions being mostly gambles of Nick Castellanos, German Marquez, Miguel Andujar, and Sungmoon Song. They're projected to be a roughly 500 team, with their bright spot being a full season of Mason Miller.
All of those that lay out, don't tell me a 500 team. I think it's like, I know they're gambles with Miguel Andujar, Nick Castellanos, German Marquez. So far, those gambles are looking pretty good during spring, but They got to be able to do it during the regular season. I think the Padres are mistiered. I also think the Astros are mistiered. I would say the Reds, except for the fact they just lost Hunter Green. So now they're going to be kind of in the 500 range. But I think there's a couple of missed tiers there before you get to tier 4, Frank.
Tier 4 is the everyone doubts this team, where the Padres should be, honestly. Milwaukee Brewers and the Cleveland Guardians. Brewers won the most games in MLB in 2025, yet they are consistently underrated. Haven't had a losing season since 2016. Meanwhile, the Guardians won the division with weak offense, 28th in runs, and somehow still keep finding a way to win.
I would put the Padres in the doubt them tier more than the 500 tier. Brewers are the perfect description for this, by the way. I doubt them every year because they don't do anything in the offseason. In fact, they usually just trade away most of their players or let them walk. But they continue to win. And you know what? The Guardians are like that too. Every single year, the Guardians, you look at the Guardians roster, like they got Austin Hedges on their team. There's no way they're going to win games. And you know what? And then they just start winning games.
And then you look at them again and you go, they still have Austin Hedges?
They still have Austin Hedges on this team? And then you remember that they have Jose Ramirez on their team too, which also is a big help. And I will say, Cleveland is really good at turning chicken bleep into chicken salad.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they do a really good job, especially from the pitching side of things. On to the final tiers. Here's your top 3 tiers of teams. And this is where I draw the line because playoff bounce back teams, and the first team listed is the Atlanta Braves.
Yeah, that's...
And then it's the New York Mets. And then it's the Baltimore Orioles.
Okay.
We are mislabeling these tiers.
Are we? Now you're complaining about mislabeling of the tiers. You think of 9 tier names for these, bud.
No, I just don't think they should be in that tier.
Okay. Atlanta, New York, Baltimore. Baltimore, at least one losing team makes the playoffs every year. Happened 34 of the last 36 years. That's just a baseball trend. The Braves expecting a full season of Ronald Acuna, however, now losing pitchers like flies. Orioles adding Pete Alonso, and the Mets building a roster around Juan Soto and Francisco Lindor.
I will take the Orioles in this particular case to make the playoffs, followed by the Mets. Actually, I checked that. I can't even say that with a straight face. Baltimore's got too many demon clubs to deal with that are just a pain. There's too many good teams in the American League East. There's not as many teams in the National League East. I think the Mets will be the bounce back playoff team, if you will. Tier 2, World Series or bust.
That would be the Toronto Blue Jays, the Chicago Cubs, Seattle Mariners, Philadelphia Phillies, Boston Red Sox, Detroit Tigers, and of course the Yankees. For Toronto, Game 7 World Series loss last year, added Dylan Cease, Kazuma Okamoto, and a return of Max Scherzer. Their expectations keep getting higher. For Seattle, 85 to 90 wins for the last 5 years. Pushed the Jays to 7 games in the ALCS, highest expectation in 25 years. For the Tigers, signing Framber Valdez, still waiting on top prospect Kevin McGonigal. Phillies, 96 wins, but the roster remains a question. Yankees won 94 games without Garrett Cole last year.
I'm not a believer in the Yankees. The Tigers will be fine. I think the Red Sox will be really good. Phillies might regress a little bit. Seattle's going to be right there. I'm a little worried about the Blue Jays because teams that win the offseason usually don't win the regular season. Just ask the Giants about winning the trade deadline.
Yep.
And then you have the Dodger team.
Yep, and then you have the Dodgers.
Rich, keep getting richer tier. Two-time defending World Series champion. Super team year. 2 super team tier. Fangraphs gave them 3 times better World Series odds than any other team. Their goal is to become the first NL team to ever win 3 straight titles. Aging core, massive expectations. We should call them the salary cap tier. The team that's going to lead to a salary cap. What about the ruined baseball tier that they love to be so proud about? Maybe that should be the tier. We finally got to it. It's great. When we come back.
Juan says if the Mets weren't in New York, no one would believe in them ever. No one believes in them ever right now.
When we come back, big game tonight. San Diego FC and Toluca will discuss further. Braden Surprenant Show, San Diego's number sports station, 97.3 The Fan. It is time. It is time for today's biggest fan.
Is it now?
It is. Congratulations, Ace Biggest Fan, Nina Atkins in San Diego. Nina Atkins in San Diego. Give us a call in the next 10 minutes at 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973, and you'll qualify for our grand prize. 20 tickets for you and your friends for a night in our Odyssey Suite at a Padres game with all the fan staff later this season, catered by Spiro's Mediterranean Cuisine. Remember to register your name at 97ththefantasy.com/biggest fan. Nina Atkins, you got 10 minutes. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Not Wilbur, not James in Oceanside. Unfortunately. Sorry, boys. All right. We got to get to what's going on in San Diego FC. I do want to mention, though, we didn't get to our midday sports standoff today. If you were able to take me down in sports trivia this month, you'd be qualified for a chance to win our grand prize, a 2-night stay at Fontainebleau, Las Vegas, and a $150 resort credit. March is here, and Fontainebleau, Las Vegas is the place to catch every game. High-energy watch parties with expansive screens, great food and drinks, exclusive room rates, plus the pools and day club are open. Book your stay at today at FontainebleauLasVegas.com. Now, a lot of college basketball going on right now in the conference tournaments. It is now halftime for UCF and for Cincinnati. Or it's about to be halftime. Cincinnati's up 24-22 on UCF. Those are two teams battling for an at-large bid out of the Big 12 Conference. It's a little bit different than the first game they had today, which was kind of rough. That was rough.
Is this a win and you're in kind of deal? Or
for these two teams?
Yeah.
Like one more win?
Yeah, like if you win, you advance. I just want to make sure for Mark DeRosa's sake, he knows how this tournament works. So is it one more? So you win and you go on at this juncture in the tournament?
Yes.
Okay, gotcha.
I have to say.
Got that, Mark?
We're just piling on Mark now.
Might as well.
Might as well. Brick Roley in The Athletic today was just eviscerating Mark DeRosa. I got to find that particular article. But last night, I mean, that was a very bad look for Mark DeRosa. For some reason, we can't search for this stuff on Twitter anymore. I don't like the new Twitter search, whatever. I can't even, like, all right, I'm not going to be able to find this off the top. So, but Britt Garoli from The Athletic wrote a piece on the game last night for Team USA in Italy in what was a major, here it is. Sorry, I didn't write Brittany first. Major problem with Team USA, major fumbling of the bag. Mark DeRosa, quote, misspoke, and now Team USA's manager must face more scrutiny. She starts off her article today that came out at 10:44 this morning. The cover-up is worse than the crime. In the case of co-conspirators, Team USA manager Mark DeRosa and MLB Network, it's hard to say who looks worse, though only one of their flubs could spell an almost unfathomable early exit for a stacked American team in the World Baseball Classic. Oh, my God. I mean, you got to, if you have a subscription to The Athletic, you have to go read the article. And I can understand why people are upset about last night's loss. We talked a lot about it in the first hour as we kind of reset here in the final hour of the show. You cannot have, if you're Team USA, you cannot not make the next round. And the thing that makes it even more embarrassing, and Brittany Garoli puts this in her article in some capacity. But the reality of the situation is this. Like, it's fun to sit there like, oh, Italy beat the United States. It's a lot of them. They're mostly Americans on that team. But it's the Americans that obviously have Italian heritage that were not good enough for Team USA, went out and were beating the United States ass last night, 8-0. And the whole problem was the Mark DeRosa comment after the fact. creating a massive problem. So DeRosa went on MLB Network and incorrectly stated that Team USA had already clinched a spot in the quarterfinals of the World Baseball Classic. The statement went uncorrected during the broadcast, by the way. Despite hosts Harold Reynolds and Matt Vasgersian being present, we brought this up in the first hour, did we not?
Yes, we did.
Nobody corrected him on MLB Network. They didn't put up a graphic. They didn't correct him after the fact. Nobody at MLB Network corrected one of their colleagues who's running Team USA about the comments about they thought they already clinched a spot in the quarterfinals before they played the game against Italy. The video clip was then later removed by MLB Network's website, creating backlash online and fueling accusations of a cover-up to protect DeRosa. MLB later restored the clip and said it was removed to avoid fans receiving inaccurate tournament information. How about that? That's a new development, Frank. We didn't hear that part. We didn't hear the part that Major League Baseball had to put it back up. Like, we don't want to tell fans there's inaccurate tournament information. Well, you probably should have corrected it on the air. You are Major League Baseball's network.
Only news companies had the same fire when it came to that, you know?
Right. Absolutely. The optics of this entire thing turned a simple mistake into a credibility crisis, not only for Mark DeRosa, but MLB Network yesterday. Now, here's the bigger problem, though. The bigger problem of this entire episode wasn't the fact that Mark DeRosa misspoke on the air. That happens. Or the fact that MLB Network was incapable of correcting Mark DeRosa on the air. Okay? Understandable. If Mark DeRosa managed Team USA last night like it was a game that mattered, you could believe the misspoke conversation. But he didn't manage the game last night like they needed to win. He managed the game last night like they had already clinched. After believing the team had clinched, Mark DeRosa rested several key players. Bryce Harper did not play last night. Cal Raleigh did not play last night. Alex Bregman did not play last night. Bryce Terang did not play last night. And who started the game that they needed to win? Nolan McLean. Inexperienced pitcher, highly touted prospect, but not in that spot.
To be fair, McLean had been scheduled for that game for a week. So it's not like it was a last-second decision to put him in. He had been scheduled for that game.
Still started an inexperienced pitcher.
He was scheduled. That was the plan. It's not like they completely threw it in.
They also scheduled to have Tarek Skubal go against Great Britain. Almost like they thought if they won the first 3 games, it doesn't really matter who starts game 4.
I'm just saying
they could have made
that was the plan. They could have. You're right. They could have, but it was the plan. If that was win in advance,
Nolan McLean probably would have came out of the bullpen. They would have made some things happen. He managed the bullpen like they already clinched. I mean, Clayton Kershaw started warming up. And they delayed using elite reliever Mason Miller till later in the game when they shut down Kershaw and then threw Mason Miller up in the bullpen. They lost 8-6 to Italy after trailing 8-0. The loss really put Team USA in a position now where they need Italy to beat Mexico to advance, or Mexico wins by scoring 5 runs. Those are the 2 possible explanations that's the 2 possible outcomes. You need if Mexico wins, they got to score at least 5 runs, and they got to do it 9 innings. If Italy wins, they advance. Now, 2 possible explanations on why this became a national story. And unfortunately for Mark DeRosa, they're both really bad. Scenario number 1, he didn't understand the tournament rules. That's not very good for DeRosa, now is it, Frank?
No. And also, especially, what else is not good is places like DraftKings pointing out that you have not managed a single game outside of the 10 in the World Baseball Classic that you've done.
Scenario number 2. All right, so do we believe scenario number 1 right now?
Yes.
Okay, you believe that he didn't understand the tournament rules. Let's give him the benefit of the doubt because he said he misspoke and he actually knew the tournament rules. That leads to scenario 2. He did understand them, but managed poorly anyway. Either outcome of this, by the way, raises major questions about whether he should be leading Team USA with a loaded roster that has Aaron Judge and Bryce Harper and Alex Bregman. Team captain Aaron Judge admitted afterward, it's out of our control. Meaning Team USA's fate now depends on either Italy or Mexico. Mexico needs to win and score 5 runs or more. Italy needs to win. Those are the two scenarios for Team USA. Now, the perception problem. Do the Americans take this thing seriously? The situation last night reignited a long-term and long-running criticism that many international fans believe Team USA doesn't take the WBC as seriously as other countries like Japan, the Dominican Republic, and Italy. Evidence cited in previous, accusations, if you will. Relaxed clubhouse atmosphere after beating Mexico. That's either like they don't care, which I don't think is the case to an extent, or they thought they were already advanced after beating Mexico, and they were celebrating their advancement into the next round of the WBC, which would also lead to what the roster was or the lineup was yesterday for Team USA. Players staying out celebrating late. Comments from Bryce Harper earlier in the tournament expressing excitement about Olympic baseball over the WBC. All of this has led to critics and criticisms questioning whether American stars view the WBC as secondary over other potential goals for the season, if you will. So now what's at stake for Team USA? If Team USA fails to advance, it would be one of the most embarrassing exits in WBC history. The blame obviously would fall largely on Mark DeRosa after his incorrect TV statement, his questionable lineup decisions, and the perception the team treated the game casually. And now the tournament has gone from gold medal or bust for Team USA. The other thing that I want to throw out here, and it's what we haven't really commented on too much, aside from, we talked a little bit about in the opening segment. But this is so bad for DeRosa, because if they don't pull this off, it's going to lead to a lot of people that aren't going to really believe or trust what Mark DeRosa is saying on MLB Network. I think he loses a little bit of credibility when it comes to him criticizing managers potentially in the future, which is bad. It's bad because he has a great gig with MLB Network. I think he does a great job on MLB Network in the mornings and on the morning show, and he does a great job breaking down swings and talking ball, and it's like, this is what I would do, all that stuff. I think he loses a little bit of that after the gigantic fumbling of the bag in the game against Italy. I mean, we go back and play that clip from Hot Stove or whatever it was. I mean, he literally said, like, no disrespect to Italy, like, we're in a weird spot here, like, after already advancing where, we still kind of want to win. He just went on and on and on. He ended up doubling down on those comments and not even realizing it in real time that they took that game last night lightly because they thought they already advanced. How can you do that as the team that invented the sport? How can you do that as the team that's supposed to be one of the favorites in your pool, if not the favorite to win the entire thing with Japan, with Dominican Republic? And then it starts raising the questions about why is DeRosa managing this team to begin with? Why is DeRosa, still on MLB Network? I mean, I don't think he's going to get fired from MLB Network because of this debacle of a performance in the World Baseball Classic as a manager. But I tell you what, this is a guy that at the beginning of this tournament, people were saying, like, I can't believe he's not a manager of an MLB team yet. He's got like the best team in baseball, the best team ever. He's got a team filled with all-stars. And I wonder how much Mark DeRosa actually gets to do as the manager of this team, Frank, because of all of the teams he has to manage and their plans to get their players up to speed for the regular season.
Yeah, we did discuss that last week when we heard, or before the tournament started, about how he goes about managing these players, and it is different. It is different from how a normal manager would have to manage. It's a lot harder because he's not only dealing with the players, he's dealing with the parent club of these players that have sent them there. So he can't really manage the team the way he wants to, quote unquote. But I mean, still, there's no excuse for blatantly not knowing what the heck is going on in the tournament. There's no excuse for that.
Right. There is no excuse. And the embarrassing thing is not losing to Italy, because if not all of the players for Team Italy are all Americans. Those are players that were not good enough to play for your team. And so they're playing for Italy. I mean, look, like Alec Jacob and Ron Marinaccio, great to see him part of the Padres, but if the Padres game was on the line this season and the bullpen is healthy, who's not coming out of that bullpen? Alec Jacob and Ron Marinaccio. I mean, you could say what you want. I think the performance by Michael Lorenzen last night, great for him, great story. But Michael Lorenzen, have you seen what his spring training line is right now in the Cactus League as a member of the Colorado Rockies before he left for Team Italy?
Not playing at altitude, by the way.
Yeah, well, slightly, but not as high as it is Denver.
Not as Denver altitude.
Do you know what his spring training line is?
No, not my week to watch him.
Michael Lorenzen, in his 3 starts for the Rockies in Peoria, and again, they're working on things. Spring training for everybody. He's 0-1 with a 14.29 ERA in 5 2/3 innings pitched with 3 strikeouts. Michael Lorenzen from Anaheim, California, wearing Vans, shoved it up, you know what, to Team USA. Last night, he shoved. Michael Lorenzen shut you down. I don't care if they played the backup Team USA guys or not. We're talking about Michael Lorenzen. Guy's throwing no hitter, but you know what? Michael Lorenzen. That's the guy. You're talking about a pitching staff that is Michael Lorenzen, Dan Altavilla, former Padre, Alec Jacob, Ron Marinaccio. I mean, this is the team that you could not score on until late. Not a great look for Team USA. Not a great look for Team USA. And speaking of Team USA, to an extent, although who knows how many Americans are on San Diego FC, I think there's a handful. Very much an international game. Rooting for the American team tonight in the MLS. They got Toluca tonight at Snapdragon Stadium. We'll get you a full preview when we come back on the Braden Surprenant Show. Settings from the Sports Station, 97 to the Fan. We got a lot to get to here on the update for San Diego High School athletics, and the biggest
yes.
The San Diego State Aztecs are heading to Las Vegas as the number 2 seed in the Mountain West tournament. And honestly, they might be the most unpredictable team in the bracket. They just beat UNLV 89-86 behind a monster 30-point game from BJ Davis. The first 30-point performance by an Aztec since the 2024 NCAA tournament. And when this team's offense is rolling, they look dangerous. But earlier in the week, they lost to Boise State and got absolutely dominated on the glass, losing the rebounding battle 37-15. And that's the problem. San Diego State teams are supposed to win with defense and rebounding. If the Aztecs get back to that identity, they can absolutely win the Mountain West tournament. But if they get pushed around like they did inside against Boise State, this could be a short trip to Vegas. So the big question is simple. Which version of San Diego State shows up in March? Men's basketball, Frank, regular season is now over for the Aztecs, and they're heading to Las Vegas as the number 2 seed, the Mountain West basketball tournament. They'll play Thursday at 6 against the winner of Colorado State, the 7 seed, and the number 10 seeded Fresno State men's basketball team. They closed the season and the regular season with a gritty performance, but they need to be a lot better defensively and on the boards if they want to advance to the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, absolutely. And just going through that game against UNLV over the weekend, BJ Davis exploding for 30 points. The first Aztec with 30 since Jaden Ledee back in the 2024 NCAA tournament. Reese Dixon Waters, 19 points, continued to be the most consistent scorer on the team. San Diego State shooting 55% from the field. And when they shoot that well at home, they basically never lose. However, they did have a rough outing against Boise State earlier in the week.
This is a team that showed two sides, and it's a two-sided team here. Earlier in the week, they lost to Boise State 86-77, and the issues were clear. Out-rebounded 37-15, which is utterly atrocious for this Aztecs team. They gave up 86 points. The defense identity slipped. That's not typical for a program coached by Brian Dutcher, whose teams are built on defense and rebounding first. Still, they win over UNLV, and it gives them momentum entering the conference tournament. And historically, that matters. As the number 2 seed, the Aztecs are 5-1 all-time in the Mountain West tournament. And the last 2 times they were the 2 seed, they reached the championship game. They need to do more than that, though. They need to win it if they want to be playing in the NCAA tournament. The path is all right. They got Colorado State and Fresno State winner, which they're better than both of those schools. They have an opportunity to get revenge on New Mexico after what was a bad call that didn't go their way down at the pit. And then after that, they have to take on probably Utah State again. But the good thing is they haven't been swept by anybody in the Mountain West. They know how to beat these schools, and it's at a neutral floor. And so for that, the Aztecs still have a chance. But unfortunately, Frank, the women's basketball team, dominant season ended in a stunning upset yesterday.
Yeah, no, things did not go well as a story for San Diego State. Women's basketball this season was dominance. They finished the regular season at 25-4, 19-1 in the Mountain West. Mountain West regular season champions. Coach Stacy Terry Hudson won Mountain West Coach of the Year, and the Aztecs stacked up many, many awards. Nala Williams winning the Mountain West Player of the Year. Caitlin Hamilton, the 6th Player of the Year. Naomi Panganaban going all Mountain West. They shot the ball extremely well, defended at elite levels, and won 21 of their 22 final regular season games. But unfortunately, Air Force, number 9 seeded Air Force, proved to be just a little too much for them.
Yeah, they beat San Diego State 83-76 in the quarterfinals. It was the conference first number 1 seed quarterfinal loss since 2015. Panganaban scored 29 points, but Air Force dominated the glass in the second half, hit 27 free throws, flipped the game late. Now San Diego State waits to see if the net ranking around 67 is strong enough to get into a postseason invite. But based on the latest bracketology, I don't think it's going to be the case. Which sets up for these one-and-done conferences. Tournaments like that end up costing them a lot of money because San Diego State women's basketball probably has the best chance of potentially advancing an NCAA tournament, and now they have no shot. And it negates everything that they accomplished in the regular season, which to me is more important than winning a couple of games in a weekend in Las Vegas. So it's a double-edged sword when it comes to these conference tournaments. Let's talk about baseball. Competitive, but still inconsistent. The Aztecs sit at 9-6 this year on the season in baseball after a 12-9 loss to St. Mary's. Offense showed life. Zach Justice had 124 on a Wednesday. I can't believe it's already 1:30, dude. Flying by. We got so much sports going on right now, too.
Yeah, we've had a week of that, too, of just, oh, my God, we're in the last hour kind of deal.
Getting closer to Padres baseball. Actual Padres baseball. Not to say that's in the spring training. There's a lot of, ins and outs of the spring training, all that stuff. Yeah, I get it. Yada, 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 yada. But, it's nice to be breaking down actual ball games, and here's the thing, I don't know, does anybody want the full breakdown of Arizona State, Iowa State today? Not really. Here's the breakdown.
I don't think Arizona State wants the full breakdown of that game.
Jocelyn definitely does not want us to talk about that anymore. Wilbur might be like overjoyed with that particular conversation. I'll be locked in tonight for TCU Oklahoma State at 6:30. But like, do you want the full breakdown of SMU Louisville right now? I don't. I didn't. I'll monitor it. Like, I like the story. Like, I'm gonna personally watch a lot of this stuff too, with the conference tournaments. I think it's fun. It's not like worth like talking a conversation about it. But the Padres stuff is what we wanted. This is what makes it local, right? Mixed with the barbecue talk. Somebody complaining about the coleslaw talk, brother. Did you not hear our full? We spent like an hour talking about Walker Buehler's outing, dude. Come on. Lighten up, Francis. Not you, Frank. The other Francis.
Yeah, I know.
To be fair. People love the new drop, by the way. That's good. I didn't know we had so many Letterkenny fans.
I know, right?
I started watching Letterkenny because my friend likes Letterkenny.
It's such a good show.
It's hilarious. It's so funny. It's so dumb. It's funny. And they just the Sandoz boys. It's so good. I'd never heard of it until I started watching it. That's about the only level of television I watch. I don't watch a lot of TV. I watch a lot of sports, try to keep up with everything that's going on in the sports world. I'm calling a lot of sports games. Don't have a lot of time to really dive into a TV series. Last weekend was the first weekend I had off in like 7 months, maybe 8. Who knows? But it's good to be back to some actual Padres baseball here coming up. For all the college basketball fans that care, of course, 27-26 lead for Cincinnati. That's a big game because both those teams are bubble teams. We're going to talk more about the Aztecs because they play tomorrow. Tonight is the game between Fresno State and Colorado State. Winner of Fresno State, Colorado State will play San Diego State tomorrow at the same time at 6:30. So we will have a full preview of that coming up tomorrow. And tomorrow we'll start really diving into more of the college basketball stuff before Selection Sunday on Sunday because of, if the Aztecs do win on Thursday, who are the teams that are competing with the bubble? I will say this. They've already had some good news with some of those bubble teams. Like, if you look at Joe Lenardi's bracketology and take that for what it's worth because he doesn't get ranked very high when they rank bracketologists. But just as an overall picture of what you potentially see on Selection Sunday, the bubble teams going into it about 7 hours ago, Stanford's already been knocked out. They're one of the first 4 teams out. Virginia Tech lost as well. San Diego State's just passed Virginia Tech. So if you're an Aztec fan and you're watching other teams play today, UCF is one of the last 4 teams in. Cincinnati is one of the first 4 teams out. They're going to knock each other out right here. So either Cincinnati's going to lose and San Diego State could potentially pass Cincinnati with a win, or, UCF might lose and crumble a little bit as well. Stanford's already lost. You can knock them off the list. I don't think Stanford has enough resume-wise to outdo San Diego State if San Diego State wins a couple of games. So as much as you would think that they have to win the Mountain West Conference, I don't understand how this team can get so many opportunities, Frank. I really don't. I mean, every time we talk about they lose, it's like they got to win the tournament. And then it's like, oh, well, look, everybody else lost.
Like I said, it's the luck
right back in it.
It's the luck of fools. That's all it is. It is the luck of fools.
They got to win 3 games in 3 days, the Aztecs do. They're currently the first team on the next 4 out. So they got 4 teams in front of them in the first 4 out. They got 5 teams in front of them in terms of a tournament bid. So we'll see how they progress. Auburn plays tonight. You need Auburn to lose if you're an Aztec fan. Cincinnati right now is playing. This game doesn't really matter for Aztec fans. I guess UCF winning is probably better for them to knock Cincinnati out to an extent. But I could see it. It's really 6 one way, half a dozen the other. SMU's playing Louisville right now. You need them to lose. Indiana plays today. You need them to lose. And then a couple of teams behind you in Oklahoma and Cal. Probably be great if they lost. Oklahoma State's jumped into a little bit of a bid too. They play later on tonight. Kind of really need them to lose also. That's your update on that particular situation with college basketball. But a lot of good games tonight throughout. We didn't really talk more about. I want to finish the show with San Diego FC with the preview against Toluca. We only have a couple of minutes here to talk about the craziness that is the NFL. So when we did our NFL update, the big news was, and the big talking point of our NFL update that we have played and is now almost out of date, was the Baltimore Ravens giving up 2 first-round picks for Maxx Crosby. I thought 2 first-round picks was utterly ridiculous for a guy like Maxx Crosby. And I think a lot of criticism has happened to the Ravens about Maxx Crosby. And that's why this is a little fishy to me that yesterday the Raiders put out, before the Ravens did, Las Vegas before Baltimore, that the trade wasn't going to go through. The Ravens have backed out of the trade. So they're returning the 2 first-round picks again. So a massive NFL trade that sent star pass rusher Maxx Crosby from the Raiders to the Ravens collapsed after Crosby failed his physical in Baltimore. The agreed deal would have sent 2 first-round picks to Vegas, the 14th overall pick in the upcoming draft, and a 2027 first-round pick. The trade had been agreed to before the start of the NFL league year, but required a physical to become official. When Baltimore's doctors reviewed Crosby's knee, they determined a long-term risk was too high and backed out of the deal. According to reports, this is why Maxx Crosby failed his physical. Crosby is currently recovering from knee surgery to repair a torn meniscus that ended his 2025 season. The medical opinions differed. Ravens medical staff was concerned about long-term durability. They felt the injury risk was too high considering the draft compensation that was being given up. Crosby's camp, on the other side, said, and his agent insisted, he is ahead of schedule in rehab. Surgeon Neil Alitros. We all know that name, right? He's the guy that does all the Tommy John stuff. Neil Alitros said Crosby is progressing well and is expected to return during off-season workouts. The issue wasn't necessarily Crosby's short-term availability, but the long-term outlook for his knee. This is a huge deal. It's a huge trade that gets wiped off now. Crosby, 5-time Pro Bowler, 69.5 career sacks, 133 tackles for loss, face of the Raiders franchise since being drafted in 2019. And despite his success, the Raiders have struggled. Only 1 playoff appearance, 5 head coaches in 7 years. I can and can't believe that stat at the same time. 5 head coaches in 7 years, Frank. That guy has been in the league since 2019. He has had 5 different head coaches. Crosby obviously wanted out. The relationship between Max and the Raiders deteriorated in 2025. Raiders placed Crosby on injured reserve in December, ending his season. Crosby reportedly wanted to keep playing, believing the team was tanking for draft position. After the incident, Crosby left the team facility frustrated. Raiders owner Mark Davis later met with Crosby at his home. Both sides agreed a trade was the best solution. Ravens' problem now, and here's the thing. The Ravens believe Crosby was the missing piece of their defense. They even broke their own franchise pattern by agreeing to trade first-round picks for a player, something they rarely do. Now Baltimore is stuck because they have lost multiple free agents this offseason, still lack an elite pass rusher, although that has now changed because they just picked up Hendrickson, and their biggest offseason move has just disappeared overnight. But the pattern for the problem for the Raiders is they now get Crosby back that they can't necessarily afford because they spent all the money that they thought they were going to get off the books in the trade to the Ravens. They spent it on free agents already. So what happens next is Crosby remains with the Raiders. He has 4 years, $150 million remaining on his contract. And now you have this like severed relationship between the Raiders and Crosby, and it's even more awkward. A trade still feels possible, but now it's complicated because you have doctors for the Ravens saying, like, we don't want this guy. You probably shouldn't give up this guy. Give up picks for this guy. So now the Raiders, what they're going to get back is going to be way less than what they originally got for the Ravens. It's a crazy state of affairs. This is something, Frank, that only happens to the Raiders.
Yes, it is. And it was surprising yesterday when that came down, and that was the first thing we thought of was, well, he flunked the physical. But it's It kind of reminded me of the Carlos Correa thing from a couple of years ago. First, the Giants had signed him and then bailed out, and the Mets had signed him and then bailed out, and he ended up going back to Minnesota. Or he went back to Minnesota and then got traded to Houston, right? That's the way that went with Correa?
With Carlos Correa?
Yeah. He signed with Minnesota after that and then got traded.
He got traded
Houston.
at the deadline, last year. But yes, he'd signed the deal with Minnesota.
Yeah. So I don't know if Baltimore really saw what happened or saw the thing and said, maybe this isn't what we're looking for. Maybe a little bit of buyer's remorse. Maybe they thought they gave up a little bit too much for a guy who has such an injury. But if doctors are saying the injury really isn't much, I think they just got cold feet.
They're using long term, I don't know if it's going to be good. Well, you're giving up 2 first-round draft picks like we talked about for an aging player that is coming off of an injury. That was dumb on their part to begin with. And now they're using it. Now, I think they realized it was dumb when they were getting criticized probably by everybody for making that trade before it came out. And I think the Raiders have a legitimate gripe with trades getting announced before they're official and maybe scaring off the Ravens. I think the Ravens are using this as an excuse. If I want to put my conspiracy hat on,
I don't think that's. I really don't think that's too far out of line. If I'm honest,
it's fishy. It doesn't. This thing stinks. This back out of a trade stinks. It stinks. There's something weird going on with this. And maybe more details will come out. Now, where does Maxx Crosby go from here? I don't know, because a lot of teams that were interested in trading for Maxx Crosby have now spent the money and have acquired players that have been their alternate plan. So it'll be very interesting to see what happens with Max. That was just a bizarre story that happened yesterday that I was not expecting. In fact, when one of my friends sent it to me, I thought it was fake. I thought it was AI. I thought it was BS. There was there's no way. I'm like, let me go check the Raiders one out. I thought it was, when people make memes of press releases or those statements that are fake from organizations, I thought Maxx Crosby did something and then that was a spoof. And then I went to the actual Raiders page on social media. I'm like, oh, this is legit. I didn't know that. San Diego FC plays tonight at 8:30. It's a big game for them, obviously, in the CONCACAF Champions Cup. We'll get you a preview of it when we come back to finish up the show. Braden Surprenant Show, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97 through the Fan. Right now, the most chaotic division in the NHL isn't the East, it's the Pacific. Anaheim Ducks are currently sitting in first place, which nobody expected at the start of the season. But right behind them are the Vegas Golden Knights, the Edmonton Oilers, the Seattle Kraken, and the San Jose Sharks, all separated by just a few points with about 20 games left in the season. And here's the crazy part, though. The Ducks might actually have the easiest path to win the division. They only have 5 games left against playoff teams. And while Vegas and Edmonton still have brutal schedules filled with contenders like Colorado and Dallas, the question now becomes, can Anaheim hold on and win the Pacific, or do the Oilers and Golden Knights eventually take control when the pressure ramps up? Because in this division, someone's season is about to collapse and someone else might be about to shock the NHL. The stretch run is here. We're officially entering the final stretch of the NHL season with roughly 20 games left for most teams, and the playoff picture is getting wild, especially out west, as the Anaheim Ducks, Frank, currently sit first in the Pacific Division.
Yeah, they've old Ben Afquack over there has been having a time as the Ducks currently sitting first place in that Pacific Division, which might be the most surprising storyline in the NHL, as you said. Behind them is just absolute chaos in their wake. The Vegas Golden Knights, Edmonton Oilers, Seattle Kraken, and San Jose Sharks are all jammed within a handful of points, battling for playoff positioning. And Sunday night gave us a massive one. The Oilers and the Golden Knights, a true 4-point swing game in the standings in the Pacific.
The Pacific Division might decide the West. Fascinating part of this race is the schedule. Anaheim actually has the easiest road remaining, and they have 19 games left and only 5 against current playoff teams. Meanwhile, Vegas and Edmonton still have to grind through schedules filled with contenders like Colorado, Dallas, and Tampa Bay. So while the Ducks leading the division might feel like a surprise, the numbers say they might actually have the inside track. And if Anaheim holds on, that's one of the biggest turnaround stories in the NHL this season.
Yeah, absolutely. And we talked on the show last week with Ryan Poehling signing his contract. If the trade, the Trevor Zegras trade, is starting to pay off for Anaheim right now, and it's looking like it is, bless you, they are way ahead of schedule compared to what we were expecting.
Trade deadline fallout, the winners and the losers. The NHL trade deadline did have a strange rhythm this year. Lots of deals leading up to it, quiet on deadline day itself, and then chaos right before the buzzer. Some teams walked away much better. Some teams might not have gotten the value that they were hoping for going into the deadline.
Yeah, the Colorado Avalanche might have had the best deadline. They already had Nathan MacKinnon playing at an MVP level, and now they add center depth. Might be the best in the league now as they add Nazem Kadri and Nicholas Waugh. That lineup suddenly looks terrifying come playoff time. Meanwhile, the Ducks made one of the more stunning moves, acquiring longtime Capitals defenseman John Carlson, giving up their young roster a veteran Stanley Cup presence for this playoff push. Also, the New York Islanders trading away Jonathan Drouin, who they signed at the beginning of this season, to pick up the captain for the St. Louis Blues, Braden Shen. So that was another big move that was made over the course of the trade deadline.
But not every team nailed the trade deadline in the NHL. The Edmonton Oilers might have wasted a golden opportunity. They still have Connor McDavid, arguably the best player on the planet in his prime, and yet the biggest issue on the roster, goaltending, wasn't really solved. That's a risky gamble when your championship window is tied to McDavid's contract timeline. And
that was after a trade at the beginning of the season where both Pittsburgh and Edmonton swapped their goaltenders. So they tried to address it earlier this year with Tristan Jarry. Has not worked out, and I see why they stood still. You don't want to admit failure on 2 different goaltenders this year and make trades twice, but also it's kind of an important thing, especially when you've lost in the Stanley Cup final the last 2 years.
Over in the East, the Tampa Bay Lightning and Buffalo Sabres are battling for control of the Atlantic Division, while teams like Detroit and Boston are fighting for wild card spots. And keep an eye on the Pittsburgh Penguins, who are holding a playoff spot despite dealing with injuries, including missing star Evgeny Malkin.
Yeah, Evgeny Malkin actually got suspended for a high slash. So he's not out with injury. He is out based on rule of the NHL. So the East may not be as chaotic, the Metropolitan and the Atlantic.
How? I want to mention that all of our guests join us on the SDCCU fan hotline. It's not big bank banking. It's better. Alongside Frank Marchese, I'm Braden Surprenant. Thanks again for tuning in with us on a Wednesday. Man, did the show fly by today. Got college basketball in full force. We got games on all the time. It's going to be great. We got that same thing next week. The NCAA tournament starts next week. Should be a fun time for college basketball fans. I got a buddy that takes work off every single time. He uses his PTO for the Thursday and Friday of March Madness. Those are the days he takes off. You know what? I respect that.
I mean, if you got it, you may as well use it.
Yeah, if you got PTO and you're not going to go on a vacation, you want to just have those built in every single time. If I'm going to take days off for sports, that's the day to do it. Those first 2 days, definitely a day to do it. And yeah, I agree. I smoke if you got them, you know? That was the best in college. Thursday, Friday of the NCAA tournament. Because in Central Time, too, like the games wouldn't start early in the morning. I'd go to my classes, be done by like 10 o'clock, and then just watch college basketball the rest of the day for 2 straight days. Set up 4 TVs in the family room, living room, whatever it may be. Awesome. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Juan in Oceanside giving us a call. Juan, what's going on aside from Arsenal?
Yeah, not pleased with Arsenal. I was gonna say, as far as the Maxx Crosby thing goes, it seems like you guys might be right, because it seems like the Ravens also saved $33 million signing Trey Hendrickson over doing the trade for Maxx Crosby, which, makes me put on my conspiracy cap even more. But actually, the reason I even called was to kind of criticize Team USA's baseball team. I know I'm in the chat and I'm kind of hating on them a little bit, but it is frustrating as a baseball fan to root for Team USA, having the expectations they have, not just with the superstars, but with the culture that we have in the United States. Like, I think it's necessary for us to take it more seriously. It doesn't feel like the players are taking it seriously. It doesn't feel like DeRosa's qualified. And I mean, we can blame DeRosa all we want, but at the end of the day, he still made a championship game without all these all-stars. Granted, he did have Mike Trout, but is it a Mike DeRosa thing, or is it potentially these superstars just don't seem to care enough? Just want to get your thoughts on that.
Yeah, it's an interesting conversation. I mean, yesterday people got mad at me, but I said it wasn't as big of a deal as it is. I'm going off of like what some of these players are doing. I mean, you could tell me it's a big deal and you could tell me you care about it, but when you're leaving because you're in a contract year after pitching one game of 40-something pitches, your actions speak louder than your words. The whole thing with DeRosa managing this team is another way. I mean, giving guys rest. Like, how can no player on that team understand the situation that is at hand, by the way? And how can a guy like if Bryce Harper, let's talk about this for a second. Like, if Bryce Harper knew the situation and like really cared about the thing, right? And I don't know. Who knows if he was just getting fed bad information like everybody else was or whatever. At some point, isn't somebody in that clubhouse going to stand up and be like, look, we got to win. Like, get me in the game?
Yeah, it's one of those deals where did DeRosa and the players not know, or did they know and not care?
Right, and just be like, we'll be okay.
Yeah.
That is a big question. You'll never going to get the explanation of the not care. I could totally believe that DeRosa and the staff royally messed up the situation because they're 3-0, right? To start. Mm-hmm. They probably thought they were just like in the same spot as all the other teams that were 3-0 to start that already clinched the spots, whether or not they're going to be 1 or 2. They probably didn't care about being 1 or 2. And I bet what is the saying of assuming, Frank?
Yep. You make an ass of yourself.
You and me, make an ass of you and me. And that to me is what Team USA looked like, because there was a shift there in the end of the game where they went from we're just playing because so we don't get fined, right? Mm-hmm. To holy cow, get Mason Miller warmed up. We didn't realize we had to win this game all of a sudden. So I get where Juan's coming from. I don't think all the players are like that, but the fact that you didn't have Cal Raleigh play or Bryce Durang or Alex Bregman or Bryce Harper. Look, I get that there are other team influences to Mark DeRosa too and how he manages. But at the same time, it looks bad for the United States when you got guys that are like, Bryce Harper talking about the Olympics being more important than the WBC, and then like Tarek Skubal leaving in the middle because, it's a contract year. I mean, the actions of Team USA do not show that they are like, we're all about it. Except for Cal Raleigh not giving a Rosarena Nux. Like, that's where we draw the line. Like, we're locked in. It's so funny to me that we had the locked-in Cal Raleigh that can't give his Mariners teammate Nux because I'm competing and I'm looking at, and then the next day, none of them play. They all partied after beating Team Mexico, and none of them knew that they weren't that they had advanced.
Did you?
Are you locked in or are you not locked in? You can't have it both ways here.
Did you see what Alec Thomas posted on his Instagram?
I did see that.
He posted a picture of that moment between Rosarena and Cal Raleigh and said, "Make it personal."
Oh, for a fact that they're not going to try to score 5 runs. They're going to stop it if it means they get the win. We'll see. That's going to be much. I got to see the pettiness in that particular game. I will say this: if both teams make a mockery of the game, that might ruin the WBC.
Yes.
That could potentially ruin the WBC.
And that's why I saw somebody in chat say it earlier, and it's kind of hard to schedule all these games and broadcast them when you don't have like a Paramount Plus like what's on right now. But soccer used to have that problem. It used to be a very, very big problem. And then when it came down to clinching games, they all played at the same time. They have all, like, especially in the World Cup, like they have all of Group A, B, and C play at the same time on the same day. So you're playing actively and you don't know what you have to do in order to get there, in order to advance. So that's something I feel like the WBC could have done, was to have all of the pool teams, like to have all the pool games play at the same time. So this way you don't know what the deal is on the last day. But it used to be a big problem in soccer.
Yeah, I could see that. I mean, as long as they're going to make a mockery of the game. Again, here's the situation for Team USA. They need Italy to win.
Yes.
Plain and simple.
If Italy wins,
if Italy wins in any capacity, United States advances. Now, they can still advance if Mexico wins, but Mexico has to score at least 5 runs in order for Team USA to advance, and it has to be in 9 innings.
Mm-hmm.
After that, it's a lot of up in the air of extra innings because it's runs allowed over outs recorded, because not everybody gets 27 outs in these games because of home and away and stuff like that. So, like, if Team Mexico's got a 4-2 lead and it's like the 8th or 9th inning, it's like, are they going to try to get those runs in late? I mean, they get to advance anyway. Like, why would it's like at that point you might as well not try to get the United States in. I mean, that's one less difficult team you got to deal with.
That's a major threat too.
Right. So if Mexico scores 5 runs, Team USA is in. If Italy wins, Team USA is in. That's it. That's all you need to really worry about. There's no, you can talk about the like, oh, this score is good and this score is not good. I mean, go through the numbers, whatever you want to do. If the game ends in 9 innings and Mexico scores 5 runs, Team USA is advancing. If the game goes 9 innings, well, actually, if the game goes whatever and Italy wins, the USA advances. Any Italy win, Team USA goes, because there's no tiebreakers at that point. Mexico's got to score at least 5 runs in a victory for Team USA to advance. That's it. That's all I need to know. Let's get out to Derek in La Mesa. Derek, what's going on, man?
Hey, what's up, brother? Hey, I know you guys are wrapping up. 2 quick points. Number one, inexcusable loss to Italy. I know we've beat this drum. Just embarrassing.
It is.
But more importantly, brother, this might cost me a foul. It might be TMI. But this is a statement of fact. More vasectomies are performed in the month of March than any other month during the year. True story. I wonder why that is. That's all I got for you, brother.
Derek's not the only one that somebody put that in the chat. That is a foul too. Let's chuck.
Yeah,
yeah.
He draws the foul
For March Madness? It's going over my head. Somebody explain it to me.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I don't.
Rod's
get that
excited about it. There's Augie posted about it. I don't
think,
get the joke.
And I want to say,
I know what a vasectomy is.
I don't think the loss to Italy is a bad loss. The way they lost it is what makes it a bad loss. That Italy team is good.
Well, losing to Italy would still be tough for the United States. It still would have been embarrassing, because here's the thing. Yeah, they are good, but those are all the guys that could not make Team USA because they're all Americans, right? Yes. Like if Vinny Pasquantino could make Team USA, he's probably playing for Team USA. I would be my guess. Now there was an article about that, and I'm going to take a look at it, but that's the embarrassing part. Is it's a lower level all-star team compared to yours, but I agree with you in the sense that it's not the way that they did it.
Yes, it was
it's the way that they did it that's embarrassing. If they gave their best foot forward and Italy played out of their mind and they beat you in a baseball game, hey, you know what? Can't really knock Mark DeRosa.
It's a loss at that point.
But when you don't start 4 of your best players on the all-star team and you just throw whoever out of the bullpen like Ryan Yarbrough and you lose 8-6, that's a problem. We'll see what happens tonight for Team USA, because they don't control anything. 5 runs for Mexico in regulation, or Italy wins. Team USA advances. Gwen and Chris coming up next.